Unicorn Factory Lisboa and to the official launch of EIT Community Hub Portugal. It's a true honor for me to be here today for a moment that embodies collaboration and vision and ambition, the very best of the European spirit, of course. Before we begin, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Carolina Sampaio-Diniz. Thank you, Carolina. The EIT Community Hub Officer for Portugal. Her dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment have been instrumental in bringing this hub to life. Thank you, Carolina. Today is not only a celebration of what has been achieved, but also the beginning of something greater. And Carolina has been truly the very heart of that journey. Thank you, Carolina. This launch, an applause, please. She deserves it. It's a lot of work, This launch marks more than just the opening of the new space. It represents a bold commitment to connect Portuguese talent and ideas with Europe's most vibrant innovation ecosystem. It's about building bridges to make it easier, faster, and more meaningful, impactful to scale from Portugal into Europe and from Europe into the world. The EIT Community Hub Portugal unites all 9 knowledge and innovation communities of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. It opens the door to funding education, acceleration, and strategic partnership in fields that are shaping our collective future: health, energy, climate, food, digital transformation, urban mobility, raw materials, advanced manufacturing, and the creative industries. This morning, you will hear from some of the leading voices in innovation here in Portugal and across Europe. Together, we'll explore national and regional strategies and discover the many opportunities the EIT community ecosystem offers. It is an honor to guide you through this opening session and to welcome our distinguished speakers. So with that said, let's move forward. Our first speaker is EIT Governing Board Member. She's a senior public executive and board member with a long-standing commitment to innovation, regulatory reform, and institutional transformation in Europe. She's currently an advisor to the Minister of the University and Research of Italy. Between 2012 and 2020, she served as Director General of Confin Industry, Italy's main business federation, where she led strategic initiatives on industrial policy, public governance, and EU competitiveness. Between 2021 and 2024, she served as head of cabinet to 2 different ministers, the Minister of Public Administration and the Minister for University and Research, therefore playing a pivotal role in Italy's recovery and innovation agenda. Please welcome to the stage Marcella Panucci.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Eva, for your presentation. I'm very happy and I consider it a privilege to open today's event and celebrate an important step forward in Europe's innovation journey, the official launch of the EIT Community Hub Portugal. Before I continue, please let me extend a warm welcome and express my sincere gratitude to the distinguished guests joining us today, starting from a person that I'm honored to call a friend, José Manuel Barroso, whose vision and leadership as President of the European Commission laid the groundwork for the creation of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Thank you, José. Without your commitment to placing innovation at the heart of Europe's future, the EIT would not exist as it does today. A warm welcome as well to Antonio Grillo, the president of ANI, the National Innovation Agency, whose leadership continues to play a vital role in Portugal's innovation strategy. We are also honored by the participation of Carlos Moedas, Mayor of Lisbon, former commissioner and long-standing supporter of science, entrepreneurship, and European cooperation. I would also like to acknowledge Sofia Moreira de Sousa, head of the European Commission representation to Portugal, and Sebastião Bugalho. I'm sorry if my accent and pronunciation is not perfect, but I plan to come back to Lisbon to practice Portuguese. A member of the European Parliament whose presence here today underlines the importance of shared European values in building a more innovative and cohesive continent. And thank you to all of our esteemed speakers, panelists, and guests who are shaping the future of Portugal's innovation ecosystem. We are here to mark the beginning of a new chapter, one where Portugal, with its ideas, talent, and creativity, is more connected than ever to Europe's largest innovation network, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. As a governing board member of the EIT, I'm proud of the role we play in transforming Europe's innovation landscape. Since its creation, the EIT has worked to bring together the worlds of business, research, and education to turn ideas into impact. Today, the EIT community supports more than 9,900 ventures, over 2,450 new products and services, and a community of over 1.3 million learners trained in entrepreneurship and deep tech skills. A huge achievement, believe me. But perhaps our most important achievement is this: we bridge Europe's innovation divide. We make sure that innovation opportunities are not limited to a few hotspots, but are spread all across regions, including outermost regions like the Azores and Madeira, which we are proud to support. When we talk about Europe's competitiveness and its innovativeness, we need to consider Europe as a whole. We need to build critical mass of innovations, both on demand and supply ends, and this is what the EIT does and will focus even more. For example, in 2024, the EIT adopted its first strategy on the EU outermost regions, recognizing the unique potential and challenges of territories like the Azores and Madeira. With its strategy, we aim to ensure that these regions are not peripheral in innovation, but fully integrated into the European innovation ecosystem. Today's hub is a part of that vision, providing a direct link between the EIT community and Portugal's outermost territories and creating new pathways for local talent, entrepreneurs, and researchers to thrive on the European stage. Portugal has been a dynamic and committed partner in this effort. The results speak for themselves. Between 2021 and 2024, a total of 13.3 million euros has been committed in EIT grants towards Portuguese entities. This amount has been committed via 8 EIT knowledge and innovation communities that have been quoted by Eva, with EIT Health being the largest contributor. This funding includes 3.1 million euros to support Portuguese SMEs. The EIT supported the creation or growth of 407 Portuguese startups. These ventures have attracted over 30 million euros in investment. 55 innovations were launched onto the market, and nearly 30,000 participants took part in EIT education programs across universities, professional training, and entrepreneurship. This momentum is powered by a vibrant mix of higher education institutions, SMEs, and innovation-driven public actors. Nearly 70% of the business organizations taking part in EIT activities in Portugal are SMEs. I would like at this point to share two success stories that reflect the potential we are building on today. The first one is Full Venue, supported by the EIT Digital, which uses artificial intelligence to forecast customer purchasing behavior with 95% accuracy. Thanks to the EIT support, the company refined its algorithms, joined European acceleration programs, and just this year secured over 2 million euros in seed funding, expanding into the world of sports, events, and entertainment across Europe. Then there is Enline, supported by the EIT InnoEnergy, which is revolutionizing the energy sector with sensorless digital twin technology. After receiving critical early-stage support, they raised 3.5 million euros in growth capital to take their software global, helping monitor infrastructure and cut carbon emissions with no field work needed. These are just not two success stories. They are proof that when talent is matched with opportunity, we can scale Portuguese innovation to the world. We have achieved a lot, but plan to do much more, and this is not a threat. The EIT Community Hub Portugal, led by Carolina Sampaio-Diniz, is here to make this kind of journey better accessible and to better use the EIT potential. Whether you are a startup, a researcher, university, corporate, or a public authority, the Hub is your one-stop shop for connecting to the EIT community. Through this app, Portuguese innovators will have direct access to EIT education entrepreneurship programs, mentoring, funding, market access, Europe-wide networks, and partnerships tailored to support for outermost regions like Azores and Madeira, and guidance on how to align with EU innovation tools and priorities. This is not just about information, it's about opening doors, forming partnerships, and building pathways for growth. This launch also brings to life the ambitions set out in the EIT Governing Board's strategic vision paper. That vision calls for a more inclusive, connected, and competitive innovation ecosystem across Europe. It recognizes that deep tech talent, regional excellence, and scalable startups must all be supported through long-term structures that deliver real impact. The EIT Community Hub in Portugal is one of those structures, and Portugal's role in this vision is essential. Today's event is just the beginning. It brings together voices from across Portugal, from Lisbon to Madeira and the Azores, to build a vision of inclusive, place-based, and ambitious innovation. A key pillar of our strategy is the EIT Regional Innovation Scheme, which has been instrumental in fostering innovation in moderate and modest innovative regions. As we look to the future, the EIT Regional Innovation Booster will play a vital role in providing long-term tailored support to the most promising ventures in Portugal. This initiative will offer not just funding, but strategic guidance, mentorship, and access to Europe's largest innovation ecosystem. By the end of 2025, 25 EIT community hubs will be in place across Europe, including the EU's outermost regions. Today, Portugal joins these growing networks and strengthens its role in Europe's shared innovation future. So let me close by thanking all the institutions and individuals who made this app possible, and especially Carolina, whose leadership and commitment will shape its success. To everyone here today, connect with the Hub, engage with the EIT, and help shape Europe's future through innovation. Portugal's voice, your voice, matters. Let us amplify it together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcella. So our next speaker is a distinguished Portuguese and European statesman. He served as president of the European Commission from 2004 to 2014, overseeing a decade of major EU enlargement, global economic crisis response, and the advancement of key European integration policies. Prior to this role in Brussels, he served as Prime Minister of Portugal from 2002 to 2004 and held early ministerial posts, including Minister of Foreign Affairs. Throughout his career, he has played a central role in shaping Europe's political and economic landscape. He is also known for having spearheaded the creation of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology, EIT, in 2008 as part of his vision to strengthen Europe's innovation capacity. Please welcome to the stage José Manuel Durão Barroso. Welcome.
Thank you, Eva, for your kind words of introduction. Dear friends, special words to Carolina Sampaio-Diniz and to all those representing different institutions gathered here. My dear Marcella, thank you also for your words of welcome and introduction. Dear friends, I was invited and I was asked to present something about the origins of EIT. I'm afraid I'm maybe the oldest in the room, so I can give a historic perspective at the beginning of your work here. But before that, let me just acknowledge the fact that we are here at Unicorn Factory Lisbon, something that is indeed a great initiative of the Lisbon municipality and the mayor of Lisbon, Carlos Moedas. I know he's going to join us later. I really want to congratulate the municipality of Lisbon for launching this Unicorn Factory here, what it represents. And it's so good that we have here also a presence of the EIT today with the launch of the EIT Community Hub Portugal. About the EIT origins, there are some lessons I believe we have to draw that are still important today, and probably even more important today than before. It was a political initiative. In 2005, during my State of the Union speech in the European Parliament, I said, and I'm quoting word by word, "We must do more to keep the best brains in Europe and attract the best brains to Europe. That is why I will propose the creation of an European Institute of Technology," 2005. So this was 20 years ago. That idea came to me because I had been in the United States, visiting professor at Georgetown in the 90s, and I saw how efficient they were in the United States linking the private and the public sector, and how they were able to create a cluster of startups. At that time, the word was not yet much used. Startups linked to the university. So we had education, we had research, and we had business. And at that time in Europe, this was not yet very common. By the way, I still believe that in Europe there is a prejudice against business. In Europe, there is still a prejudice against the private sector. And so, for me, it was clear that in Europe, we needed to do something to bridge that gap between, first of all, education on one side and research on the other side, to connect this to innovation, market-oriented innovation, and also to bridge the gap between the public and private sector. I had been in the 80s, in fact in 1980, so I think many of you were not yet born, I'm sorry to say. I was in the European University Institute, an institute in Florence, in Italy, where I still teach. I'm a visiting professor there. And the European University Institute is also an entity from the European Union, funded by the European Union, but only for history, civilization studies, legal studies, law, and economy. And so I said to my collaborators in the Berlaymont in Brussels, so how is it possible that we have in Europe such a great institution like the EIT for the humanities, and we have nothing for science and technology? Because at that time in Europe, there was not a single pan-European institute for science and technology. And you cannot imagine the resistance there was against the EIT. That's the reality. It was so difficult, the birth of the EIT. Let me just give you some elements. So in 2005, I made that reference in the State of the Union speech in the European Parliament. Then, in October 2006, the Commission adopted an official communication that's called Delivering on the Modernization Agenda for Universities. Education, Research and Innovation. That was the title. In that communication, we spoke about, it was our first time we put it as a formal proposal. The EIT proposal was positioned as a flagship initiative of this modernization. In February 2007, the European Commission put forward a legislative proposal for the EIT. We adopted it, establishing the EIT. Already it was no longer EIT, because the idea of EIT for me came from MIT, because I had been also in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That's why the name was created EIT, as a kind of a similar with MIT. And then, but the decision was to put it European Institute of Innovation and Technology. In March 2007, there was European Council support. The heads of state and government, they endorsed the concept and supported its creation. I had to work a lot for that. My good friend Angela Merkel, and she's really a friend, by the way, she was here in Lisbon yesterday and the day before yesterday to receive her very well-deserved doctorate honoris causa from the Catholic University. And she was, as always, very skeptical, saying, is this not a pet project? Why are you insisting on that? When we came with the idea, some people said, oh, this is a pet project of the Commission President. We don't need more institutions. We need more bureaucracies. We don't need more entities. And I wanted to explain to her, and since she was really, without her support, we could not have it, frankly, because there would be no money for it, as simple as that. And by the way, we're discussing already the future financial perspectives. And so she understood, not without some resistance, but she understood that it could be instinct for mobilizing the innovation and competitiveness agenda of the European Union. Let's not forget, at that time, we had the so-called Lisbon strategy that has been approved before, that established as the goal to make Europe the most advanced knowledge economy in the world, the most competitive economy in the world. Unfortunately, as you know, we're still not there. And the reality was that that was not working. In 2004, precisely the year I became Commission President, there was a report published, the Koch report, from a former Prime Minister of the Netherlands. It was commissioned by the member states, and basically it said it's not working, we need to do more. That's why afterwards he created the Europe 2020 strategy. And part of it was to put more emphasis on innovation, not just research, but also innovation. So the resistance was political. There was also people that did not want to put money on that. But for me, the more instinct resistance, and that's important to draw the lessons, was bureaucratic. Why? Because in the European Commission, now I'm no longer there, I'm no longer in political life, so my level of sincerity is increasing day by day. So now I can speak freely, and it's so good. The European Commission institution that I much respect and I love, I think it's a great institution. If we did not have the Commission, we should invent it. But in fact, it was and still is quite bureaucratic. Because when we came with the idea, a European Institute of Technology, who was going to take care of it? The DG Education or DG Research? There was a fight between them. And at the beginning, no one wanted it. Afterwards, both wanted it. Of course, I had two commissioners. Jan Figel was the European Commissioner for Education, Training, Culture and Multilingualism. And there was Janez Potočnik, the Commissioner for Science and Research. So we had to put them together. But afterwards, also at DG level, there were a lot of tricks to avoid the creation of the EIT. That was the reality. It was difficult to mobilize them to have something that was not just for education, not just for research. And I think this is very important to keep in mind, because the idea of the EIT since the beginning was to have the so-called knowledge triangle between business, education, and research. And that was the basic concept for the knowledge and innovation communities. As you know, afterwards, they were created and consolidated. So after March 2007, with our European Council support, in March 2008, and that was the period we needed to make all these articulations, the European Regulation 294/2008, was officially adopted and established the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. This was in 2008. Then there was a budget for the pilot phase, 2008-2013. It was a pilot. It says, let's see if it works. There was a lot of skepticism. Only 309 million, which is really peanuts in terms of financing, but at that time it was some money. And in September 2009, the first governing board was appointed. And in 2009, the headquarters were established in Budapest. That was also a political decision, because in this distribution of agencies of Europe, Budapest was not yet with a specific agency, and even if the model of EIT was since the beginning very much decentralized, the idea was to have it in Budapest. And in 2010, we had the launch of the first KICs, So EIT Climate, EIT Energy, EIT ICT Lab, so climate, energy, and digital being the first. And in 2025, today, so 20 years afterwards, we are here in Lisbon for the launch of this community hub in Portugal. So 20 years later, better later than ever. So the question is, what are the lessons? The lessons is that it's very difficult to overcome these gaps. And that we need, if you want to succeed now, let's say, Europe, if you want to succeed in the global competition for science, research, and innovation, and we are lagging behind, I'm afraid to say, the United States and China and others, we are lagging behind, they have no doubts about it. If we want, we have to bridge the gaps between education and research, between our countries, and also between the public and the private sector. So we need to mobilize synergies. We need leveraging the capabilities and resources, including the great talent we have in Europe. And we need scale. In Europe, it is a well-known phrase made many years ago by a Belgian politician, Paul-Henri Spaak. He said, in Europe, all countries are small. The problem is that some have not yet noticed it. We need European scale. By the way, that is the basic concept behind the recent Letta and Draghi reports. Just to give an example, NVIDIA, that company, American company, that started as a startup recently, not very long ago. Our market capitalization now is around 4 trillion. This is bigger than the GDP of Italy, bigger than the economy of the UK, bigger than the economy of France, almost the same the economy of Germany. Just one American company. Just one. Bigger than the UK, bigger than France, bigger than Italy. It's amazing. Why? Because they have the depth of the markets to develop it. They have the talent, but in Europe we also have the talent. But we don't have yet a capital markets union in Europe. Now, the Commission appears determined to do it, but we have been speaking about it for more than 20 years. By the way, it's the Portuguese Commissioner, Maria Luísa Albuquerque, someone I know well. She's determined, she's doing her part of the job, but at the end of the day, we need the government to support it. Because today, we still have 27 financial markets in Europe. And why don't we have one capital markets union in Europe? Basically, because in Europe, many politicians don't like capital, they don't like markets, and they don't like unions. So that's why we don't have a capital markets union. They want to fragment the system. They don't want a European market in capitals because they want to keep their incumbent position. Or sometimes they are resistant to the very idea of a financial market. They have some suspicion. Or sometimes they are resistant about union and in the union in Europe. This is why I hope this time it works, because also from that point of view, we need the scale. Without that scale, we will not be able to reach our objectives, namely on AI. I was recently in China. I met the Prime Minister, I met the leaders of the AI sector and the green sector. They are winning in all aspects, and we are lagging behind. In the green transition, we speak a lot about green transition, but in fact, the industrial green transition is being leading by the Chinese. As simple as that. From solar panels to batteries, but to even wind turbines, to electric vehicles, they are leading, and we are lagging behind. So if we don't understand that, we will understand nothing. And AI is not a technology. It's an enabler of all technologies and all science. My good friend Demis Hassabis, one of the creators of DeepMind, by the way, British company that was bought by an American group recently, he received the Nobel Prize of Chemistry last year. He's not an expert in chemistry, but he created a program for chemistry and for medicine. By the way, he could also have received the Nobel Prize for medicine. Because AI is an enabler for all technologies and for all business, and it will transform every aspect of the economy. the production of goods and services. Everything is already being transformed and will be much more transformed because of AI. There we are lagging behind the Americans in many areas, but also lagging behind the Chinese. This is why we need that scale. That is the message of the Letta report and the Draghi report. When they speak about Letta, very interesting, he proposed a fifth fundamental freedom, a freedom for research and innovation and education. So alongside the goods, capital, services, and people, the four freedoms that the traditional we should have in Europe, because we don't have yet, in fact, that freedom, for instance, capital, and there are a lot in the internal market. We have in the goods, a relatively working, a good working market, but we don't have a capital market, we don't have services internal market. And Enrico Letta wisely proposes a fifth fundamental freedom for that, and also the so-called 28 regime. Together with Draghi, also make that proposal, said the only way to create a space of integration, and I'm afraid it's not just by breaking the barriers between our 27 markets, but to create one regime that all companies in Europe could immediately adopt if they want. And this is the way forward if you want to have the financial depth to allow our companies, our startups, to be real leaders, not only in Europe, but globally. Because we need that dimension, namely when we think about the global competition going on and the challenges to our security, to our defense, and to our way of life in Europe. We are in a global competition, extremely tough, and our competitors, the United States, China, and some others, by the way, we find that in other countries, some of them that people usually don't speak about, that are investing more in science and technology than we are doing. So this is why I'm sorry to give that message. That is probably a little bit tough, but we need this wake-up call. Namely, and I said it before, after the re-election of President Trump, this is a wake-up call for Europe. If we don't understand what's going on, we will lag behind and will not be able to give our new generations the capacity to defend their interests and their values. We need to do more collectively at European level, and that was the original concept of the EIT, to mobilize synergies, to leverage, and to attain some scale. I'm delighted that now we have this also in Lisbon. I know in Portugal there is a great talent, but still very much fragmented in my opinion, great talent. The talent is here, but now we need, with the support of the European Union, to leverage, to increase the synergies, and to get to the level we need for a strong, united Europe. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Durão Barroso, for your wake-up call, knowledge, experience, and insights for the future. Thank you. Our next speaker is Advisor for Science and Innovation at the representation of the European Commission in Portugal. He received his PhD in 1996 on electronics engineering from the University of Lisbon and the CSELT lab in Turin, Italy. He has been with the European Commission since 1998, with responsibilities in the areas of scientific data, infrastructures, and high-performance computing. He was a member of the cabinet of the Commissioner Maria Gabriel for Research and Innovation and Education from 2020 to 2023, overseeing the European Research Area and the Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Program, including industrial and partnerships. Please welcome to the stage Carlos Moraes Pires.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for the invitation. Greetings to all the national and European institution representatives. Special greeting to the President Durão Barroso, who enlightened us about the creation of the EIT. It's a very nice story, but a successful one. So thank you again, and good morning to all of you. So it's my pleasure to be here today, above all to congratulate the European Innovation Community, particularly the EIT, establishing a community hub in Portugal. In moments of global uncertainty, let me dare to say that innovation is a certainty. The need for innovation is a certainty. The EU itself is an innovative project from the start, with the need to adapt to circumstances that change over decades. And we are passing through one of these critical moments, I would say. The urgent need for impactful innovation is a key message from the Draghi report, and President Barroso stressed it. And President von der Leyen stressed that the EU must invest in the future, addressing the many challenges ahead. To innovate is the only way to ensure freedom of our choices. And choosing Europe to develop new ideas and bet on progress and solidarity is the right thing to do. We need ideas, infrastructures, investments, but nothing can really happen without the engagement and involvement of the wider community of innovation. We like very much the KIC acronym that the EIT uses. Building knowledge and innovation communities, everything but trivial. I was born in the 90s, so I'm not so lucky to be a Generation Z or something like that. Anyway, we like very much the KIC acronym, building knowledge and innovation communities, everything but trivial, as I said, bringing together different skills, different competencies, backgrounds. It's extremely difficult. But it's the strength of the EU of the 21st century, of the EU 2.0 that we need to build as of today. A union made of progress and humanistic solidarity, because this is also a distinguished characteristic of the European project, presenting itself as a global trusted partner. So, congratulations to all of you, to those that started EIT. So it's a big moment for Portugal. There is a lot of talent, as it was said. In all Europe, there is a lot of talent. I was in Italy. I learned how the Italians have so much talent as all other Europeans across our geography. We count on you. We have a lot to bring to the EU. We hope that this hub is just the start of a new adventure. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, let's go forward. Our next speaker has a master's degree in management from Nova SPE, worked as a senior consultant at PwC between 2014 and 2019, the year he was elected to the Portuguese Parliament. He was recently re-elected for a new term and has served as vice president of the PSD Parliament Group since 2022. Currently overseeing the areas of infrastructure, mobility, and housing since October last year. He also serves as vice president of the Social Democratic Party. Please welcome Alexandre Poço.
So, good morning. Thank you, Eva. And it is a privilege to me to join for the inauguration of the EIT Community Hub here in Portugal. Let me begin by also extending my compliments to all guests, speakers, and of course paying a special tribute to José Manuel Durão Barroso, former President of the European Commission and also former Prime Minister of Portugal. Also a big thanks to Carolina, I'm not seeing now, but she will get it. And of course, the invitation for me to speak in this panel. I think that today is not just the opening of a new office, it is the opening of new possibilities for Lisbon and for the Portuguese economy. And when I was invited to speak to all of you this morning, I thought to just give you three main convictions and ideas that I have, that I think that it will be useful to unlock the potential of this hub, but also to the potential of our economy. First of all, I think that Portugal has the conditions to act as the gateway to Europe innovation map and sustainability. I think that we have everything it takes. We have, as also José Manuel Durão Barroso said, we have talent, we have creativity, we have resilience, and of course, we have the unique ability to deliver solutions for Europe's future. But to truly live up to this role, we must aim higher. In Portugal, we must have more ambition. And I think that we need to open more doors for international investment. We have to eliminate the excessive bureaucracy that still stifles initiative, mainly on the private sector, but also on the public sector. We have to create a regulatory environment that rewards entrepreneurship and innovation, not the one who punishes ambition. And I think that the current national agenda, simplifying procedures, digitizing public services, reforming taxation to make reinvestment attractive, and investing in key infrastructures that supports competitiveness are steps that I strongly support, and I think that they will help in the future that we want. Second, we must empower people. Skills and ambitions are the engines of innovation. If innovation is our destination, then people are our path. And that means investing in education. Portugal has done a lot in investing in education, but we still lag behind in some areas regarding international tests and exams. We have to do a lot more in digital inclusion. And of course, I think that EIT here in Portugal is making a difference, training thousands of Portuguese innovators, but of course we can do more. I think that the true test of our ecosystem is not just whether we have great ideas, but if these great ideas can be much more market-oriented and business-oriented. Third, we must help Portuguese ideas not just to start, but to scale. And this is a message I've heard here today. We have earned our reputation in the last years as being one of the European startup nations, or a country that has done a lot for the startup ecosystem. But now we have to make a step further. We have to become a scale-up leader. And I think that that's the most difficult part. That means ensuring that good ideas can scale up into European level and also global level. And I think that some of the ideas that are main on our national agenda nowadays are on this direction. Lower corporate tax for reinvested profits, strengthen venture capital, accelerate EU funds to productive investment, and create a more predictable and competitive environment for business. But it is all of us, policymakers, entrepreneurs, educators, to keep pushing forward, removing barriers, and demanding results and more ambition. So I think these three main ideas, opening doors, empowering people, and scaling impact, are more than just policies. They should be the core elements of our country's, of Portugal's future vision in this area. And so this inauguration today, let us remember, it is a more opportunity to confront ourselves with a big idea. Innovation does not come from comfort. It comes from courage, the courage to challenge the present, to open up to the world, to believe that our best days are yet to come. So I thank EIT, I thank now here with us Carolina. So let's make the Portuguese innovation not only seen, but remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilson. Our next speaker is a full professor of industrial engineering and management and currently serves as president of the ANI, National Agency for Innovation. He has held several academic leadership roles at Nova FCT, including head of department, director of Unidemi, and director of the PhD program in industrial engineering. He was also chairman of Madan Park and board member of Nova ID and Uninova. He teaches subjects like technological entrepreneurship, innovation, information systems, and project management. He has led over 20 R&D projects and published more than 115 papers with more than 2,000 citations. Welcome to the stage, António Grilo.
So, good morning to all. So, very welcome to this privileged place here in Lisbon that works with entrepreneurship, startups, and very cool stuff. So, it's a great pleasure, really, to join you here today for the launch of the EIT community, since I'm serving as the president of ANI. I've been having these discussions with the EIT governance board and about the lack of traction of EIT in Portugal compared with other countries, and so I believe that this can be a step towards overcoming this lagging behind. And of course, as part of as president of the National Innovation Agency, for us it's extremely important to this moment of launching of this hub here in the Portuguese national ecosystem. A special word of thanks to our colleagues from the EIT who are here with us today to strengthen the connection between Portugal and the EIT. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the importance of Mr. José Manuel Durão Barroso for visioning and making the far-fetched idea at that time into a reality. And I was listening to this inspirational talk, and fast forward many years, today we're still having all these discussions about the importance of connecting science, companies, innovation. We still have the same problems. I think we are more mature about the diagnostics. I think we are more mature about the challenges we have. I think we have more drive, political drive to overcome the difficulties, but we're still having the same issues. And that, of course, should make us think about that we really need to take this problem, this challenge into our hands and try to overcome. But at the same time, and I know that I do understand that many people want to make this wake-up call. It's important for us to have this wake-up call. But I also like to stress that Europe, it's a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful place to work. It's a beautiful place to be in community. And I always like to share this. I keep receiving every week CVs from people that are from the US, from China, that really want to come to Portugal or to Europe to develop their top activities. And so, yes, we are in a moment of waking up, as was said before, but we also need to be very proud what we have achieved so far and what is our reality. Also, of course, I'd like to warmly congratulate Carolina Sampaio-Diniz on her appointment as the EIT Community Officer. Carolina, I wish you every success in this exciting role. Be sure that with ANI you have all the support for whatever it needs to make this happen. Of course, and finally, also warm greetings to all the community. This is a room full of many people that I know, friends and people that have been working in the innovation ecosystem for many years, and I'm pretty sure that they are here to learn, to support, of course, Carolina, to support the launch of the EIT, but also to learn how to leverage the potential of EIT into the Portuguese innovation ecosystem. For ANI, which serves both as EIT national contact point and member state representative, this moment, as I said before, marks a new stage in our ambition to deepen Portugal's involvement in the EIT community. And of course, beyond the EIT, also at the European Innovation Networks, that I'm a firm believer that we need to take this strongly. And of course, a special token of appreciation to Ani's team that are here today, represented by Alexandre Marques and Beatriz Oliveira, that work relentlessly every day with the ecosystem, with the EIT and other European entities. And as was mentioned already here before by the previous speakers, this is a particularly relevant time for Portugal. We are advancing, and when we say we are, it's the community, the companies, the researchers. We are advancing a vision of a country that is based on research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and talent. And we are doing that with a growing European alignment and impact. I think that our companies, our research institutes, our universities are starting to make this connection with the European priorities a reality, and we have all the advantage to do so. And of course, over the past years, Portugal has invested quite a lot in strengthening its innovation capacity by promoting more competitive and international startups. This is an example. Unicorn Factory is an example of these initiatives. We have been training and trying to retain, and I'm saying trying to retain, highly skilled talent. As you all know, we are in a war, a global war for talent. And of course, but we here in Portugal have a fantastic capacity to train people, to educate people. I'm an engineer. All my life has been to train engineers, and I know all too well how they are appreciated across Europe and across the world. We do train very well our talent. And of course, we have also been in the leading role in many areas on the integration of sustainability across our public research and development and innovation policies. ANI, as the National Innovation Agency, role in this journey is to bridge knowledge coming from science with the economy, and of course to promote impact-driven innovation. And our priorities include in this role supporting with different instruments and financial support, the valorization of scientific and technological knowledge. We encourage, we foster the collaboration between academia, companies, and public institutions, something that was mentioned before by Mr. Durão Barroso, that for 20 years that has been in Europe, we have been trying to make this on the top agenda. We have, as an academic, I know all too well the difficulties that we had 10, 15 years ago, but it has changed so much. Today, we are so much different than we were 10 years ago, that we were 7, 8 years ago. And that ANI, of course, is trying to encourage and to foster this change of mindset and change of reality. And of course, for me as the president of ANI over the last few years, a top priority that I've been trying to implement in both at public policy, more related with the government, but also at the execution level, to ensure that innovation policies are aligned with European goals and responsive to strategic challenges. We need to do this, as was said here before. We have to stop having 27 fragmented policies. We need to converge in goals. Of course, then nationally and regionally, we have specificities of implementation, but we need to be sure that we are converging to the same goal. I think this is more clear today than it was many years ago, but still I think we have a long road to take forward. To support startups, we have developed at ANI, in collaboration with other public institutes like IAPMEI, I'm seeing here's a Valal somewhere over there, Startup Portugal, Portugal Ventures, and other institutions. We have been developing a wide range of tools, from collaborative research and development funding to support internationalization of our startups. and of course, always with a strong focus on real-world impact. Of course, we have different type of instruments. We have cohesion funds that support this funding this project, collaborative projects between startups and research centers. We have the Enterprise Europe Network, that is an instrument that all startups and companies should use. And of course here, my colleagues from ANI can help you on that. Of course, we have also a very important role and active role on supporting the Portuguese participation in another European institution, the European Innovation Council, including the EIC Accelerator, EIC Pathfinder, and Portugal has been quite successful, or the Portuguese startups have been quite successful on applying to these programs at European level. And we have launched national support programs for deep tech startups, aligned with the Horizon Europe. And of course, we are aiming to actively do it more and more, active promotion of the Portuguese science and tech-based ventures at the national and international stages. We, as it was said before, we need to start locally, but aiming globally. This is a cliche, but we as public entities, we have a role to support those startups that really have the ambition to do it so right from the beginning. And of course, all these that ANI does complement with unique contribution that the EIT can provide, which has already had a tangible impact in Portugal. Marcela has mentioned some numbers. This is always a tricky part when we have both numbers, and then the numbers are not exactly the same, but nevertheless are very much aligned. I'm trying not to contradict some of your numbers, so my numbers state that we have already 204 startups supported, and we have at least one well-known unicorn, Sword Wealth, that passed through the EIT programs. We have roughly 17 million euros in investment raised, 34 innovations brought to market, 54 women entrepreneurs supported, more than 7,000 participants. See, this is the difference that we have the numbers, but never mind, it's good numbers anyway. 7,000 participants in capacity building actions, and 51 Portuguese graduates from EIT advanced education programs. All these are very good numbers, but as I said before, we can do it much more. We have room to grow much more. The EIT efforts to increase engagement with in the regional innovation schemes countries, including Portugal, are crucial, and we welcome the opportunity to do more with the EIT. As the national hosting, the institution hosting the EIT national contact points, of course, we at ANI are working to mobilize the Portuguese ecosystem around the EIT opportunities, and of course we will do working even more closer through Carolina's leadership. Of course, promote formal participation in the KICs, monitor and highlight the Portuguese engagement. It's very important that we know have data that really provide us with what's happening in terms of engagement, and of course contribute to strategic dialogue at the European level. And of course, last but not least, it's very important that we all together work towards the integration of the Portuguese stakeholders in the European innovation dynamics, because innovation, as mentioned before, this needs to be seen at the European level, because locally, regionally, nationally, we are too small. Actually, too small in Portugal, in the case it's about too small. And so, to be sure, to be sharp and clear, our goal at ANI is clear: to have more Portuguese institutions involved in KICs, not only through project applications, but also as active members in a long-term perspective. I'm pretty sure, we are pretty sure that with the creation of this new EIT Community Hub, we gain a valuable partner to do so, and I'm pretty sure also that together we will coordinate efforts, share intelligence, and expand the visibility and the impact of Portuguese innovation within the EIT. I'm also confident this new hub will become a catalyst for partnerships, and of course this launch here today is a way to start it, to making people be together, to make these networks, but also to be sure, when you're talking about at European level, at EIT, we need to be bold, we need to be ambitious, we have to have very ambitious projects to have the opportunity to have European visibility. And at ANI, we stand ready to support this journey. All that wants to have ambition, but at the same time be collaborative, please come to us and we work together in order to make this happen. I cannot conclude without acknowledging the significant effort that Portugal, through the ambition, motivation, and excellence of its institutions and their leaders, has devoted to the latest EIT call for the future water and the KIC. We wish it to be very successful. May the best proposal win, but let me say this, I hope that the proposal led by the Portuguese partners be the winner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. So it's the last speech of this opening session, and I want to invite you in advance at the end of that speech, an official photo for all the speakers that were here at this official opening. So our last speaker of the opening session is a connector. She is a connector by nature and a strategist by training with a background in biomedical science, an MBA and Master's in Innovation and Entrepreneurship on the way. She bridges science, business, and ecosystems. As EIT Community Officer for Portugal, she connects national innovators from startups to universities to Europe's largest innovation network, the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Her career spans health, insurance, innovation, consultancy, and startup leadership, giving her a systematic and people-centered perspective. She's also the creator of Innovation Pill, a platform for accessible bilingual content that inspires people to turn ideas into action, which I most admire. Carolina believes in innovation is only meaningful when it's inclusive and empowering. Please welcome, and with a warm applause, Carolina Sampaio Diniz. Welcome, Carolina.
Hi, everyone. I hope you are enjoying our kickoff event here for the EIT Community Hub Portugal. I am Carolina Sampaio Diniz. I'm the new ECHO for Portugal. ECHO means, for no mistakes, EIT Community Officer. And I am pleased to have you here to listen to these amazing speakers, of which whom I heartfelt thank for being here. And let's just continue with, oh, here I am. Let's continue with the presentation. Actually, we've heard from this amazing speakers what EIT does, how EIT appeared in our lives. So I don't have that much to say about EIT because we actually heard exactly from the people that we should have. So let me just briefly introduce you EIT and then specifically tell you what this EIT Community Hub Portugal brings to our national ecosystem. Okay. So EIT was the answer to a problem, to competitiveness. So EIT is actually the European Institute for Innovation and Technology, but for me, if you able me to say, if I might say, it's actually the right point where you can turn ideas into reality, although you are just in a phase of, what if this was possible? What about this idea? What about, I have this problem, maybe I can solve it somehow and bring it to more people. And that's also the place where big corporates can find opportunities to innovate. So we are talking about being an early stage startup or even an entrepreneur with a great idea, or we are talking about this big corporate that wants to innovate. And that's the thing that I really want to pass you today, because this is one of the, maybe the most frequent question that I'm asked. What is EIT for? it's just for startups, it's just for entrepreneurs, it's just for programs, for educational programs. It's not. It's for everyone. It's for the whole innovation ecosystem. And I might say we have it all. So if you are building something, if you want to build something, if you have an idea, if you're starting, and I see here some startups that I've been proudly advising, come meet us. The EIT Community Hub Portugal, it's the one-stop shop. It's your gateway to Europe's innovation ecosystem. It's where you can find a partner, where you can find funding, where you can find help, where you can find programs, where you can transform yourself into a real entrepreneur, or you can scale yourself to this scale-up, the keyword we were listening so much. So what do we do and how do we do it? We have education and skills programs, we have innovation, and we have programs for business creation. So whatever you are in your entrepreneur's journey, come meet us, we will help you, and we will have at least something to help you get to the next step. EIT has this huge mission, I don't know, has this huge mission, and we do it this way. We look at things in this KIC word, that it's actually the knowledge and innovation community. And we have climate, digital, energy, health, raw materials, manufacturing, food, urban mobility, culture and creativity, and, what is Antonio? Water. If we hope so this year. So how do you get involved with us? You can always come to us if you are a business as an entrepreneur, a university, a student, a researcher, or even a public authority. We are here to cooperate. We are here to leverage the ecosystem. We are here to help you bridge the gap between innovation and the market. So even if you are a researcher or a student and you want to know more, you want to embrace this innovation journey, you can come and meet us. We are here in this map. We have hubs here now, and as Marcella said, until the end of the year, we will have 25 EIT community hubs across Europe, so we will be everywhere, which means that when you come to us, it's easier to connect. It's easier to find peers, it's easier to find partners, it's easier to be in this innovation ecosystem and get it all. So, the EIT Community Hub Portugal has very specific objectives. We serve as a centralized source of information. We are a gateway to all EIT KICs, and we are engaging with local authorities, as you just seen our invited speakers, so that we can consolidate EIT community activities here in Portugal. So the point is, the focus is, we want to put Portugal in Europe in the best way we can, and we want to bring Europe to Portugal and bring Portugal to Europe. This is the bridge we are creating, and this is my job and what we will do as EIT Community Hub Portugal. Here you can see that we are in the center, not because we are the most important, but because we can actually reach every KIC, and we can reach everyone, every partner, every KIC, to help you get with who you want to talk, the program you need, or even advise you on the next step that you should take. So, without losing more time or without further content, here is the contact details. Of course, we will be here. This is our new headquarters. That's why we are here at Unicorn Factory Lisboa. We will have our new office starting from today here in Unicorn Factory Lisbon, so you can meet us in person, or of course you can contact us in any media channel. Eva.
You can say thank you, Carolina, for your kind words, and good luck, good work.
Thank you.
It's not about luck, it's about work every time, you know that. So now, if you please, all our speakers of the official opening, please come to the stage. You stay there to an official photo. I think we have everything ready. Thank you.
No. Venha para aqui. Come here, come here, come here. To the center, please. Yes. join us. Thank you. Obrigada. Obrigada, Alexandre. Obrigada. With our speakers about skills and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so kind of.
I can.
Hello again. Hello again. If we can come back to our program, we have the first panel that I will start calling to the stage. I promise it's worth it, so you can sit to attend the panel. Thank you. Okay, so our first panel, it's about skills for innovation, building talent to lead Europe's future. Portugal's innovation capacity will only grow as fast as its talent. To lead in Europe's future economy, we must invest not just in tech, but in people. This panel focuses on the intersection between education, skills, and innovation. It explores how Portugal is addressing the EU's Union of Skills and how EIT's education programs can help unlock new pathways for students, researchers, professionals, and everyone. Please help me welcoming to the stage our moderator, Maria Burpee, Startup Advisor and Angel Investor, EIT Health Coach. The Executive Director for Pavilhão de Portugal at Lisbon University, Rita Tomé Rocha, and Horizon Europe National Delegate and NCP for EIT, EIC in Legal and Financial Issues, Alexandre Marques. Also, Miguel Muñoz Duarte from the No Code Institute. Let's give them an applause.
All right, hello. As Carolina said, my name is Maria. I'm a consultant, an entrepreneur, an investor, and an EIT health coach. And I'm pleased for this session today because I think it's actually one of the most important things we can discuss. As you can tell from my accent, I'm American, but I live in Leiria. See, hashtag Leiria existe. So para saber. But as I was driving down today, I was thinking about, I have, a show of hands, everyone's a bit young here, but who have children, who have kids? Keep your hands up if you think skills actually start young, right? I think all of us. So if you'll indulge, I just want to tell a mini story. I was 7 years old and I had a lemonade stand, just like you see in the movies, very typical American. And my best friend had a lemonade stand right across the street. And I was in head-to-head competition. And I said to my mom, I said, what do I do? And she says, I don't know, figure it out. Go look in the fridge. So I took some raspberries out and I crushed them up and I made pink lemonade and I sold in sparkle cups. And I sold out and she closed up shop. But it made me think on the drive down, innovation actually starts at a very young age. So this panel today, not here to talk about kids, here to talk about adults. So I want to introduce our panel members. Carolina already did that. So we have Rita Tomé Rocha, and she is the director of the Pavilhão de Portugal from University of Lisbon. We have Alexandre, who has a lot of acronyms in the EIC, EIT for ANI, the Agência Nacional de Inovação. And we have Miguel, who's from the No Code Academy, which is, let me get it right, a digital reskilling and upskilling academy for non-technical people. He's also a professor of entrepreneurship and innovation at Nova SBA and ISCTE, I think is how you say it, right? So we're talking about the EU skills agenda, which has 3 primary parts. Does anyone know them offhand? innovation-led learning paths, digital skills for AI, digital tech, and sustainability, as well as access and inclusion for these types of skills. So three important topics. And I think it's important that we cover off on this because as of 2024, Portugal was slightly beating the European index at 56% versus 55% with regards to digital skills. However, it was ranking 24th out of 31 when it came to the overall EU skills agenda. But that's okay. That's why we're here today, right? Is to talk about skills and how we do this, how we move forward, and how we upskill adults, not kids. So with that, we'll leave questions towards the end. There'll be a mic in the audience. But I wanted to kick it off. And I thought the best way to do that would be with Miguel, because you often talk about, and I kind of hinted at this with the lemonade stand story, you talk about innovation mindset, right? What does that mean in your view, and what are the most critical elements to that?
Okay, I was not expecting to be the first, so I was relaxed. Yeah, okay, so probably I will be not very political. The first part was very political, so I'll start by kind of crossing a little bit here the edges. But in my opinion, my experience is, of course, being an entrepreneur, but also having worked in the corporate world, also academy, and of course a little bit of now, adult reskilling. And my experience regarding innovation, as for Europe, because I'm not going to talk about the things that probably the books, cover, but my opinion, I think that everything starts with belief, and I don't think many times that we believe. In Europe, we kind of not ambitious enough. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in our companies, in our institutions, in our politicians nowadays as well. We don't believe so that it's possible. And I think we have to learn with other geographies. Of course, the Americans, you being an American, you know it. But also, I think, other China, but also Israel, for instance, they believe. I think that's the first part. And I see that in smaller kids, they don't believe enough in themselves, etc. I see in adult reskilling, majority of people, non-technical people, that are lagging behind in the digital transition, they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can do it. This is impossible. This is for people in universities, researchers. This is for geeks and developers, not for me. But it's possible, and I think belief is the first part. The second, I would say, that in Europe we're very good at planning. We're very good at thinking about all the risks, mitigating all the risks. And I think that courage would be my second for innovation. I think courage has to be there. Courage to challenge, courage to break the rules. Kind of a fuck you spirit. I would love that we have a fuck you spirit. Fuck you money we don't have. Maybe the EIT has it. But fuck you spirit would be good. And I think for innovating, I think that's important. Like having that challenger mindset. And we are lagging behind. We should be, but we still act as the noble family that has money. Historical palaces.
Yeah.
And we forget that the newcomers are booming, like American, China, and other regions of the globe. Third, I would say probably love for pain. What I mean by love for pain, when I see like big sports athletes, great artists, they have suffered a lot. They have endured and resisted temptations. They have the discipline. And I don't think we have that enough. I think we are very comfortable in our society that has support as well for us. And I'm talking about us, assuming myself as well in the group. And I think, appreciating the pain of not working, failure, and really celebrating learnings and that come from there. I think we have a lot to learn.
Okay.
So I would say
belief,
those three.
courage, and endurance, or endurance for pain.
Yeah, greed probably.
Does anyone want to piggyback off that idea? I would also say sometimes when I consult with folks, I talk about finding the happy medium between American arrogance and Portuguese humility, right? Finding that middle ground of having that garra, that, figure it out, that scrappy, attitude. So.
But always we have to be faithful to our origins and essence.
Absolutely, and tradition.
So I would not say copy the other model. I think, we
Be
have to be
authentic.
ourselves. But those three elements, I think we don't have enough. I think we are too much calimero, we say.
Okay.
It was a
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah. Do you want to add something?
Yes, I can complement or build on top of what Miguel just said here. First of all, maybe just a brief context, because what is an executive director of Portugal Pavilion doing in a panel talking about skills for innovation? Maybe just for context, I spent the last 10 years of my life working at a higher education institution at the Faculty of Sciences of the University of Lisbon, leading its area of innovation and entrepreneurship. And part of my job was also to contribute to our optional courses on entrepreneurship and innovation, dealing with students from bachelor degree to PhD, but also with our researchers and training them for precisely to develop skills for innovation. So if I can complement what Miguel just said, I think there are, I'm quoting what books can teach everyone in the room, but I feel it's important to stress this out once more in this forum. Every report you come across talking about the future of work, how the way we work and the content of our work is changing at a very fast pace. You come across skills and competencies that I feel like are underdeveloped still on our learning paths, not only in our academic one, but on previous ones. You talked about kids, maybe we should focus there too. Why not? But for me, as a mission, as a purpose, as an entrepreneurship educator, for me was really important this mindset, understanding that being innovative and an entrepreneur is way much more about a mindset, a way to be present in our daily lives, being it in the personal or in the professional ones. It's not about opening just a business. And for that, and if this is really strategic and everywhere we go, we need to be more innovative, we need to be more entrepreneurial. And so how do we reach that if we don't develop skills that are core for this innovative process? And so for me, I would highlight two. One was a dear one to me. Every module, teaching module on creativity, I was there raising the flag. It's creativity. We are still seeing a lack on, the number of classes I started, my creativity module asking my students, who here considers himself or herself a creative person, and no hands were raised in an entire classroom. So it's scary. How do we lose the capacity of developing this skill on our growth process? So I would highlight creativity as the basis of it all, because with creativity comes the curiosity of looking at things and trying to find new ways to solve them. And then another one, which I think it's really, really important, flexibility and the ability to deal with the uncertain, because that is also at the core of the process of trying to change the status quo. No? So dealing with the fact that we can make mistakes, that it's okay to make them, learn from them, and move forward, and the flexibility to very quickly adapt to the changes that are in our surroundings. So maybe these two seem
creativity,
really
curiosity, adaptability. And I think we've got a new KIC, Carolina, which is a kids program, right? Because they do say when you want women in STEM, right, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you don't start at university, you don't even start at high school, you start in grade school, because that will fill your pipeline later. So maybe we need to have an innovation and startup program that's targeting children, so we have the ideas and the innovation later. Staying with you, Rita, for a minute, what is your perspective on this growing debate around generalists and specialists, or generalists versus specialists, I should say?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
That is also a topic very dear to me.
Are you a
and
generalist?
actually, it has also a personal story behind it, no? Because when I was 18, and when you reach that age, it's that point where you need to decide am I going to do with my life now that I am going to the university, or if I choose any other path. And I felt very lost because I knew what I didn't want, but then the number of things I wanted were so diverse that what the hell? What was I going to decide at that point? I was really a person.
Feels daunting.
Yeah. And at that time, what was my rationale? So I thought, well, let me go and study journalism because of what? I can deal with many different topics. Every day I can cover different stories. I love to write. I love to meet people, to get to know them. So maybe this is a profession that it's going to meet some of these criteria. And fast forward to maybe 2-3 years ago, I was listening to a podcast from IDEO, a company that actually an innovation consultancy company from the United States. And they have this really interesting podcast. And there I heard a guest talking about this very special book that changed his life, shaping the difference between generalists and specialists, and how scary things are around us in a time where it seems like everyone has now to aim at having a PhD or a postdoc or whatever comes next. And so you become very, very deep knowledgeable on a very specific area, but you learn this ability of becoming also a generalist, meaning interest yourself in a number of different topics. And so this kind of stayed with me like, okay, this is what I am. I am a generalist because actually if I think dedicate my life to just one topic, this would be something really important. And I think when we talk about the skills and how we lead people into this very strategic vision of becoming more innovative to deal with the challenges that are surrounding us, then this is also something really important, because if you are curious and we are dealing in our daily lives with very complex problems, then you need this ability to balance the specialist in you with the generalist one that is also curious of learning more about areas that probably are very far away from yours, but that can somehow contribute to all these challenges that are surrounding us. Yeah,
I think that's a great point. And a lot of people can be a specialist and a generalist at the same time, whether it's a vertical or an industry. So I think that's a great perspective. Alexandra, let's hear from you. You've got a couple topics you can speak about, but if we tackle first, how do you think Portugal can leverage the EU agenda, like Union of Skills, to become more competitive? How does that play out in the innovation ecosystem?
Okay, thank you. Well, in Europe as a whole is a world player, and we face right now challenges since AI, quantum technology, advanced materials, and of course Portugal should be part of the efforts that Europe is doing, catching up other areas in the world. But I think Portugal and Europe is already working on for the Union of Skills, and the EIT is a good example of that, because the EIT launched 2 years ago the Deep Tech Talent Initiative that could train 1 million students across Europe. So that is a good success case. We also have, for instance, the higher education initiatives, where the EIT wants to improve the innovative and the entrepreneurial spirit in the universities. So I think that are also good examples. And of course, a good example is also, for instance, the European Battery Academy that also wants to fulfill the Union of Skills. Yes, that are also all good examples.
Okay, great. Miguel, do you have any stories of folks that are non-traditional learners, if that's a term? Anyone that you've encountered, and how do you how do you upskill non-technical folks? What does that look like? And I don't know if anyone puts themselves in that camp out there.
I do.
Yeah.
So I studied economics, and now I'm working more in the digital technology world. Yeah, well, a couple of stories. So yes, I can give you a couple of stories. I don't believe innovation should only be science, going to Mars. I think innovation is kind of creating value in your specific context, and I think that innovation can be really more transversal to society. So I'm going to talk about examples from the bottom, not from the top. So what we do, we reskill people. We give them technology skills without code. So using no-code tools, AI, and all sorts of technologies that help people that don't know how to code to become builders. And one of the things that we do, we build apps and with specific tools. And for an exercise, we did an app that was takeaway for restaurants. One of the students, he was Uber Eats, Glovo, delivery boy. And after the workshop, the boot camp, the guy said, I'm going to try to sell this to my, my counterparts when I'm delivering the Uber things. And so it was, in first day, I think he visited 10 restaurants, and he tried to sell it, 45 euros, your takeaway app. Do you want to buy it? And of course, showing the app, etc., that we have built in class. So we managed to sell 6. Okay, the second day, he visited 20 stores and increases the prices, 75. It was easy to sell, he said. So he sold 8, I think. So a little bit less conversion, but the price was higher. Okay, so a little bit more margin. So after a couple of days, he came back and said, Miguel, you know what? I'm doing in 1 week what I used to do in 1 month. Okay, and I said, well, aren't you afraid that you run out of restaurants? Because I was also learning with him. And he said, no, because you know what? There are a lot of hairdressers and barbershops. So next I'm building an app for barbershops and nails and, I don't know, all of this shit. So interesting to see that maybe we're talking about here in these forums a lot of science, technology, very important. But I think also not only people are lagging behind, but also small and medium enterprises are still working with paper, with Excel sheets, and of course, handwork.
And desperate digitalization.
Yeah. Yes, so we always say that, in Portuguese it sounds good, because we're here to end papel, Excel, e manual, which is people working. So that's one story. Now let's try to shift a little bit to a little bit different story. So we have an architect, a girl. She was working in a furniture store. She was unemployed, so no job for her. She was working in a furniture store because it was kind of the closest thing that she had from her career. She was unhappy. She was not enjoying. So she decided to, I want to learn new things. I'll give it myself 6 months. After she learned, no code and AI tools, she said, I want to dive into this career. So she became product manager. First, she was trying to see all the careers. Then she selected product management. And she was then doing another course on product management, applying. And actually, she made a difference because from all the product managers, she was the one that had at least the ability to prototype faster than others. And now she's working in a very big and powerful technology company. So kind of, a little bit closer to the science of the top. But anyways, non-technical people reinventing their careers, reinventing themselves in order to have, more close to innovation jobs and contribution to society. So those are two stories. I don't know if this is good enough.
Yeah. Does anyone, show of hands as well, just to keep it interactive, make sure you're all paying attention. Does anyone know someone close to them that actually needs to reskill or upskill? I do, besides my mother learning Portuguese after being here for 15 years. Shout out to Mom. Thankfully, she won't see this. But I think it's an important topic as well, because if anyone's read the book 100 Year Life, we will start living longer, and we will all be switching careers and need to be adaptable and curious and creative and adjust and reskill and upskill. So even if you didn't raise your hand, it's probably coming your way soon, right? There's no more of this idea we retire at 65. So Alexandre, I think we've got time for one more topic, and then we'll open it up for questions. Carolina, I know we're running behind, so Alexandre, just tell us, you've highlighted disruptive innovation. So can you elaborate on how education systems, or how you see that playing out, and how education systems can facilitate and adapt to disruptive ventures?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we are having now new areas of expertise like cybersecurity, once again, AI, and so on. And the companies and the startups that are dealing with that face a huge problem that they cannot find works with the skills for their day-to-day job. But not only new areas. I work closely with the EIC, the European Innovation Council, where they have the EIC Accelerator. And I think in Portugal we have excellent entrepreneurs. But what skills they miss the most is financial skills. That is also a target for the Union of Skills. So financial skills and financial and investment skills are critical for the coming days, and specifically for deep tech companies.
Yeah, which is, and my son has a literacia financeira in school, right? So it's starting earlier. Back to the idea, right? I don't know. Is that not common? It's a pilot program, I guess, in Marinho Grande and Lydia. But I think we can open it up for questions now. If anyone has anything, any show of hands. Be brave. Yes. Tell us. She's coming with the mic, if you will. It's for the recording, though, if you will.
Hello, my name is Peter Russ. I'm from Triple Defense, and we are busy with combining strategical, tactical, and operational. And the question that I had is, and that I don't get back many, is that how do you see compliancy coming into this new venture of innovation? We have the AI laws coming in, we have Cyber Resilience Act coming in, and they are all putting demands on products, services for SaaS, PaaS, and smart metering and artificial intelligence agents.
That's a good question. It's like the meme, right? America invents it, Europe regulates it, and China builds it, or something like that. So you're talking about laws, bureaucracy, blockers, that sort of angle to... Or keeping control and security. Okay.
So that more like an enabler, because a law for the traffic is something else than a law that you should be capable of keeping your privacy at hand, or that nobody can shut off your water plant, for example, because there are Chinese.
So at a macro level, enablers. Is anyone seeing that in what they're doing? Is maybe in the education institutions or at ANI? This sort of macro level enablers?
I don't know. I can answer a little bit. I think we worry too much about this. I think Europe is all about that. You know, if I had more time to say more competencies for innovation, I would say a bias for actions. We need a bias for actions. We have a bias for compliance. We have a bias for regulation. We have a bias for obedience. We have a bias to, ask daddy if we can. And I think we need to break more rules. I don't think, all of these big startups started legally. Mark Zuckerberg was stealing, privacy data from the colleagues, and then putting it out online. I don't know. I'm just saying it's important, but I think there's enough people worrying about this, enough lawyers making money out of this, enough consultants, doing that. So I think us innovators and I think educators that are in the room, we should go, a little bit on the edge and trying to push the boundaries. That's my opinion, okay? Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I'll be in jail in a couple of months.
All right, any other questions?
I'm sorry, I think it...
Yeah.
Well, is it on? Yeah. Well, the thing is that if you make a product as an innovator right now, and you don't take into compliancy, for example, the CRA, and you would make something like, which is not encrypted data, You cannot sell your product here in the European market. And if you would have a medical instrument, it would be the same. Yeah. So most innovators could not be, they would not know that this is happening. Yeah. And then in their technical roadmap, they can already take this with them, so that at the end of their product, that when they want to go up, that they don't have the problem.
But for example, I have a client that's a medical device, and they are going into the wellness market first, getting CE regulation, getting traction, and hopefully take off to be able to fund the class 2 device, right? The medical regulatory, and they'll hire a consultant and they'll go through it. They know that pain is coming, but they're finding an alternative path to sort of build in public and go as, build as you go, to try and plan for that, but get around it, I would say, in a sense, build fast. And
you can test it, you can sell it elsewhere, you can find creative ways of going around the hurdles. Otherwise, we are waiting for the perfect time. Uber was not legal in the beginning. Airbnb was not legal in the beginning. So I think we have a lot of examples of that. So let's try to break a little bit more rules. Bias for actions, that would be my...
Okay. Great. I think is there any other hands? I think we can wrap it up today. Catch us after the panel. Really want to thank the panelists for all the contributions, and Carolina as well.
Thank you very much.
15 minutes for coffee break downstairs, and then we are back to the last 2 panels. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's keep going in our agenda. We now have the second panel that it's called From Startup Nation to Scale-Up Powerhouse. How can Portugal startups grow with EIT? I'll give you just a minute to sit. And help me, calling to the stage Rui Ferreira from Casa Mendes Gonçalves Venture Coordinator and former CEO of Portugal Ventures, Sofia Rolo, Head of International and Strategic Projects at Unicorn Factory Lisboa, Gonçalo Amorim, Urban Mobility and Food Representative for EIT, and Ricardo Marvão, co-founder for BTI, and also Adão Oliveira, Equity Manager from Banco Português do Fomento. Welcome.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I believe that we are in a rush due to the timetable. Okay, Carolina, I will promise and I will ask to...
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes to our guests of panels, distinguished guests, to be quick. And we are going to make 2 rounds of questions. And I believe they are going to be sharp and objective. But first of all, I would like to thank the invitation. For me, it's an honor to be here for 2 things. First, in this special place, for me it was a surprise to be here again. And I give my honest congratulations to the Unicorn Factory for this honorable space. It was a very glad surprise for me. And also, of course, to the lady of the moment and of the day, which is Carolina. Her name was, stressed out by many times, and I believe she has a lot of responsibility now. But this panel will help her, okay? We are here to help her, to moving forward with her mission, which is a very noble mission. So, the theme of our panel is this one: Startup Nation to Scale-Up Powerhouse. Scale-Up Powerhouse. Let me only introduce you in 2 minutes. This is a very interesting, adjective for this, because everybody who is running a startup, and I believe there are many people here doing that, they always think how to scale up, right? Because the scaling up is the mission, the final mission of all startups. And why? The honorable panel will try to answer you, okay? Not only from the side of the startups, but also from the side of all the identities that help startups to making the scaling up. And their mission is this. And we have here the honor to have in our panel 3 distinguished institutions that have, and I will leave them for the last, okay, that help specifically this mission to scale up, and I will ask them how you are doing this, okay? Because you are doing this with very interesting results, and we are highly successful. And then we have the people that also offer and finance this process, which is most difficult. And Adão is going to be the representative, of course, of the money guys. Okay, I was during many years also considered one, but now I will leave that to Adão, my former colleague. And he is a huge responsibility in this panel to tell us how the financial people helps to scaling up. And he's a double responsibility as well, because he's now in the Bank of Development, which has public policy oriented for this purpose. So, no, I will not waste more time, and I will begin with the panel. And of course, I will ask you how you scale up your startups, okay? And you, Adão, how you help to do this job in a financial way, and a little presentation of your identities and what you are doing. And thank you for this invitation again.
Should I start?
Sofia.
Yeah? Okay, thank you, Rui. So first of all, since I'm Sofia, Head of International Strategic Projects here at Unicorn Factory Lisboa, just want to say that I'm very pleased to see this room full of people that we know and that are part of our community. So this is the first official event that we are having in this venue. So it's not only the kickoff of the community office, EIT Community Officer, yeah? So we couldn't start better. We are super happy. This is something that together with Carolina we are planning for a long time. And it's very good to start this room with such a cool event with special people. So thank you for being here. Regarding Unicorn Factory Lisboa, really quickly. So we are a non-profit organization supported by the City Council of Lisbon. So this project started in 2012, so we have already a track record. But around 2 to 3 years ago, there was a new vision for the city, very in line with what was said this morning or in the early of this event, is how do we scale Portuguese talent to be successful abroad. So Unicorn Factory Lisboa was born with this mission and with this vision, and especially because we had a lot of programs and support for early stage startups, but it was lacking the other part, right? Supporting startups to scale internationally. So with Unicorn Factory Lisboa, they are now 4 main areas that support startups to do it. The first one, it's our Scaling Up program, so it's embedded in the name, right? So what we do is we support startups around Series A to be that, so startups already have traction, they already have revenue, sales, they already have proven their product, but they are in this part of expansion. So we have an acceleration program, 8-month program, where we bring the best in class people that have done it, leadership of Portuguese unicorns, so really relevant people, as well our ongoing support for train them and prepare them, especially the founders and their leadership, to do this step, which when you start a startup, you have really to change your mindset, right? It's not your problems change, and this is a very difficult task. And what we try to do with this program is to support throughout the way. So far, we had around 7 cohorts, so a community of 58 startups. So I have good news, so I can tell you that all of our scale-ups are part of this program, have sales in Europe. So in one way or another, they are already connected to Europe. Of course, Europe is a more natural market here. And the fundraising of these scale-ups that have been part of our program was more than 350 million euros, which is gigantic for the Portuguese ecosystem. So we are super proud of this program, and we really believe that this is the program that is making the difference. But on top of that, this is not about having a program and supporting the right startups, is evolving the community. So how the way that we see ourselves is that we are an innovation platform, which means that we have a set of programs and hubs. So we work in different angles. One of them is international. So all of the players that we connect with yearly, so more than 100 ecosystem enablers are also crucial. So it's funny that here there are some Chamber of Commerces and people that run international in competitions, embassies. So all these public organizations that we work with are also been super important for us to really understand what is the current international opportunities and try to bring those to our community and to our startups, which is, by the way, more than 50% are already international. So we are living an excellent moment in Portugal and in Lisbon, not only driven by Portuguese talent, but as well with all the international founders and international startups and scale-ups that we are achieving to grab. So sorry, more than 2 minutes, but I did my best.
Perfect, Sofia. It was wonderful, and congratulations for your work, because everybody knows that this actually is a factory, okay? So it means that it works, okay, in a very precise way. Thank you. And that was also the pleasure, by the way, that we invest in my former position in lots of companies that are here. So congratulations for your work, Sofia, again. Ricardo, you are one of the first ones making acceleration in Portugal. You have a huge experience on this task. So what you have to tell us regarding that?
Okay, thanks so much for the invite to EIT Community. My name is Ricardo Marvão. For those of you that don't know BTI, just quickly, so we started back in 2010 as a non-profit. A bunch of entrepreneurs got together and we decided, I don't know if you remember, 2010 was this year where Portugal went bankrupt, along with Greece and Ireland. And our main task was really, okay, how can we help the country? And the idea was, okay, let's teach entrepreneurship and use that as a way for the younger generation to get out of the crisis. Can't find a job? Create your own job. And this created this grassroots movement that made it that we're one of the responsible organizations that really created the initial ecosystem of innovation and startups in Lisbon, in Portugal. And we did everything, I mean, fully private, grassroots. We did the first pre-accelerators, accelerators, big events, small events, investors events, investors academies. We started a fund also. We invested in over 80 startups. And so over time, we did a bunch of things. In 2019, we decided to pivot. We said always, from the beginning, it takes 10 years to create an ecosystem. After those 10 years, there was so many organizations already helping the ecosystem. We wanted to do the next phase. So in 2019, we shifted to helping the startups that were mature, that have products in the market, that want to go abroad, want to get invested, want to grow their product. And so we started doing more corporate innovation programs. Just to give you a sense, today we work in 40 countries, 150 corporate clients. We do about 200 paid pilots every year with major companies all over the world, mainly energy, retail, healthcare, oceans. And in a nutshell, this is what we do. Regarding where we see I think there's a huge momentum now for Europe. I think there's an opportunity for Portugal to also look at this opportunity as like, okay, how can I grow? There's so many organizations helping out. I think what we're missing is getting out of our shell in Portugal, and a lot of the times we don't do it. Today we were listening about the numbers that we have as support from EIT and EIC and all these things. It's good numbers, but on average in Europe, we're below, which means we can do a lot more. And so even though I think it's easier maybe to get funds in Portugal for funds that exist in Portugal, and it's harder to get those in Europe, there's a huge opportunity, not only to get those funds, but to collaborate with others. Peer learning at the European level is at its best right now. We've seen so many organizations in Europe, across Europe, wanting to collaborate, to accelerate their learnings on everything, from scale-ups to accelerators, to funding, to corporate venture. I mean, there's a bunch of things, but we have to look outside. And I think there's an opportunity, not only for the startups and scale-ups, but also organizations like the ones are here and all the ones that are helping the startups and scale-ups in the room, to also collaborate with outside, because that's how you grow faster. You accelerate your process of learning.
Thank you, Ricardo. I will come back to you in the second round of the question to pick up what you have to say. Gonçalo, you also a beginner here through the acceleration program with BGI. What you have to share with us regarding your experience during all these years?
Thank you, Rui. Thank you for Unicorn Factory and congratulations for the first event. It's great to be here, marking this day at Unicorn Factory Lisboa. So my name is Gonçalo Mourinho. I'm the founder and CEO of BGI. We are a spin-off of the MIT Portugal program. Similar to Beta I, we were born in 2010 as an initiative incubated actually at Tiscte, where you were Audax.
Exactly.
Where you were the director there. So we are an example of a spin-off that created from a, let's say, university medium with a focus to tech transfer, deep tech science from our ecosystem and launch this globally in the market. We worked with MIT a lot, and we tried to create this culture with the founders right from the start. How can we think global? And how can we reach out to these global markets with our brains? Because the market in Portugal is quite small. Since then, in 2018, in 2015, we launched a small fund, 6.8 million euro ignition fund. We started investing directly in these startups, spin-offs. We've had now 6 exits. And we pivoted in 2018 to a ventures building, what we call a sustainable ventures building entity. We see that the ecosystem is quite mature. We don't need any more accelerators. Now what we need is really connectors and take the ecosystem to the next level. The proof that we are here in Portugal with the unicorn, and there's so many unicorns in Portugal. In fact, one of the highest rates per capita, I believe, in the world. We supported 2 of these unicorns, and it's amazing to see how the ecosystem has evolved in the last 15 years. We are really making, let's say, a quantum leap in this regard. Today we are very much focused in circularity and sustainability. This is, and of course, digitization is an enabler of these challenges. We are super focused in agri-food, smart cities, biotechnology, and a few other sectors that are related with circularity. We launched a collaborative laboratory which has close to 50 R&D engineers working on these challenges. We have to look at our waste better, at how we move in the cities logistically, but also the energy we lose and we can recover and so on. So we are pioneering now on aquaculture, on multi-trophic aquaculture systems, circular systems, nutrient recycling and so on. So we are becoming really vertical into these challenges that cities as metabolic systems require food, require energy, require people and goods to move, and that's our focus. I believe maybe I stop here and then we have another round.
We will come back to
the challenges.
To the challenges ahead. Yeah, thank you, Vasco. Thank you, Gonçalo. I was calling you Vasco, I don't know why. The thing, Adão, you are representing here Banco Português de Fomento, okay? Do you want to tell everybody what is the mission of this promotional bank and the specific role that you have to finance this scaling up process of startups?
Sure. Good morning, all. First things first. So, on behalf of Banco Português de Fomento, thanks for the kind invitation to be here. Just a little bit of background about myself, and then I go answer to your question, Rui. So, similar to Gonçalo and Ricardo, I'm in the VC industry for 15 years now. So, I started working there in 2010. And so I was privileged enough to see the development that we had in our market. So I started at ICEP Capital back in 2010. In 2012, there was a merge of public venture capitalists. That was ICEP Capital, Innov Capital, and Tourism Capital that gave origin to Portugal Ventures. I've been there until 2019. Then I made a move to Spain for a VC that was just incorporated. I returned to Portugal Ventures, fortunately. Then last year, I decided to take a detour for the advisory world. Didn't work out, to be honest. And so I decided to get back to the investment arena. And so, like I said, there was a lot of development in the market. Of course, in this development, there are successful cases, unsuccessful cases. That's the nature of this business. And I think we shall note, and probably Rui will join me on this, no matter what people say or said in the past, Portugal Ventures had a very significant contribution and footprint for the development of this ecosystem. I don't know if you are here with me on this.
I'm suspicious to talk about.
Of course you're suspicious, but this needs to be said, right? Because Portugal Ventures does not get rid of, of being public, but I think we must recognize the value that has brought to the system anyway. So, fast forward for today. So, Banco Português de Fomento is a promotional national bank, as you probably know. Is responsible for managing debt and equity instruments. For the purpose of our conversation and of this panel, probably I'll skip the debt instruments because they are not, very suitable for startups. So let's just focus on the equity instruments that we have and that are open for investment at this moment. So we are managing two instruments. One is the deal by deal. The other one doesn't have a fancy name in English. It's recapitalização estratégica. But they are very similar in terms of terms and conditions. What is really different between them is the target companies that these instruments are keen to look for. So the deal by deal, it's much more oriented for technology-based companies going from pre-seed investment until late-stage venture investment. And the recapitalização estratégica, it's more oriented for more mature companies, industrial companies, debt restructuring, things like that. And so these instruments, in essence, they are matching funds. And so, like I think it was already said here, over this last 15 years, there were a lot of VC players coming to the space. And so we decided to position ourselves as a matching fund. What this means is basically we match investment that is made by private investors in startups. And so we can go up to 70% of the total round, and the private investor needs to bring at least 30%. So the budget that these two instruments have is 200 million each. We have a relatively short window of time at this moment. So these instruments are set to close by the end of this year. And so I present you the challenge, if you are a startup and if you want to consider this opportunity, to do it as soon as possible, right? And so in a nutshell, it will be that way.
Okay, thank you, Adão. And I will ask you for the second round of questions to be quick, because we are on time, but we must leave space in room for Carolina. And I'm going to ask you the last question, which is related with IIT, of course. It's the main topic here today. So how Portugal startups can grow with the help of IIT. And all our institutions, I believe they have here a specific role, a specific partnership that can be done with you, Carolina. So I'm representing now a corporate venture. It has been a very interesting challenge that Carlos Mendes Gonçalves gave me 1 year ago, and I can tell that we have been discussing the possibility to work directly with the IT community, just to bring To bring, the network and the whole pipeline of course, of the field of Mendes Gonçalves, which is the agri-industry field, okay? To bring, outside startups to have in Portugal and there in Golgan, where is the headquarters, a specific hub to support these kind of companies. And a hub with experimentation like a test bed, you know what I mean? Test bed, and also to bring them the possibility to work in a field with the whole support of a corporate venture. So my experience in a panel, not as a moderator, but to share this, is the experience of a corporate venture. It works very well with the IT, as Carolina said. So, Sofia, in your perspective, how can you do this with Carolina?
So first of all, when I heard that EIT was reshaping a bit their strategy to create community hubs in specific countries, I thought it was like the best idea ever. And I am sure that the Portuguese startups will benefit a lot from this, because what we have been feeling is there is a struggle, especially from the Portuguese startups, and the startups are part of the community, to access to all the opportunities that are happening currently in Europe, and having a base here in Portugal that can connect directly with our community, I think is exactly what we needed. So we really believe that this new way of acting with the local ecosystems will bring a lot of impact for us and for the Portuguese community, which in the end is exactly what we want. Plus, at Unicorn Factory Lisboa, so 1.5 years ago, we also start developing hubs specializing in verticals, which are gaming, AI, Web3, sustainability. We are also working on food. We have a very food tech acceleration program, super known, and as well on the blue tech is something that we are working on. So all of this is exactly aligned with the opportunities that the EIT can bring and can bring to our startups and our partners and everyone that is working on the ecosystem. So we are really excited to have this direct channel. And of course, even more because the headquarters will be here with us. So we are sure that we will find a lot of synergies. And as well, we can act as an ambassadors of all the work that EIT will bring to Portugal. So as well, thank you for this.
Thank you, Sofia. Ricardo, same question, and also to come back to your challenges that you...
Yeah, so I'm going to be completely honest. We don't have a lot of things with IIT, and this is an opportunity also to start. I remember in 2013 we did a partnership with KIC in our energy, and they started with us and they stayed maybe 3-4 years. Renato is there, he remembers. And we ambushed his boss at the first Lisbon Challenge Accelerator, where he came, just to tell a quick story, he came, he saw the first batch, and he was like, wow, amazing, a lot of startups, would love to partner with you for the next year. And we were missing a bit of our budget to arrive to the end of the year. Basically, we had to raise like 500K for the whole year to do everything, and we were missing one part. And we told him, no, Giuseppe, we do it now. We do the partnership now. And he's like, what do you mean? This is the last day. I said, no, we still haven't launched the press release. So you can be in the press release. It's going to go out tomorrow. It's like, yeah, but you start, this is the end. I said, no. Look, we put the press release and you participate already next year. But you participate now, and like this, we can assume that your budget is for this year. It's like, and we say, we shake on it. It's like, no. I said, no, come on, believe, look at the energy and everything. It's like, okay. And we shook hands, and that's how the KIC Energy started with us. So, and for several years, they participated with us. We went to Barcelona several times. It was great. Anyway, this is an opportunity to restart this relationship, and I hope it's fruitful. We do a lot of European projects also. We have, I think, 14 now. And we do partnerships also with EIC, but I think this is and I'm being completely honest here, I think it's an opportunity to do something special now that there is this community here.
Thank you. No pressure. Gonçalo, what about you?
Well, BGI has been deeply involved in the EIT community across several KICs for now a few years, since 2017. Today we manage the Portuguese hub for foods and for urban mobility. And in fact, I'm looking at Clara now, for the food lady there. Put your hand up, Clara. And Bruno, for those working in smart cities. These are the people you need to talk to. We have been involved in programs across what's called the innovation triangle. So education, startup creation, venture building, but also innovation. And innovation funds, let's say, programs or projects within a corporate world or SME world. What we see is that, the question was, which opportunities can we still develop with the IT? I think it's a super complex community because there's so many programs in each of the KICs, and then you multiply the complexity by 10, and that makes maybe, 200 different programs across many different verticals. I guess this is why we need the community manager to connect and make let's say, all the bridges, which are plenty and many. So I wish you good luck, Carolina, because it's not going to be easy. That said, those boxes, all the boxes, 200 boxes together, I think there's many opportunities of connecting those more efficiently and so on. Being EIT a European funded organization, of course there's bureaucracy involved, and we are aware that needs to be simplified, not only in Europe, but in Portugal and elsewhere. But this is something that we need to make mechanism more agile, more oriented to the client, to whoever the user is. And thirdly, I think I mentioned this partly, but Portugal being, let's say, an outsider country in the edge of Europe, we are not so central. We are not so involved in certain decision making, but we also have a small economy. So what I think, and Rui, I think it's a great idea that you mentioned these test beds. We are already doing these kind of programs with PRR funding, in fact. And we are supporting many biotech companies where we think Portugal can excel. But we can take this concept of having, just like how Vodafone was incepted 20 years ago in Portugal. Vodafone used Portugal, then Telecel, to test new technologies. And we were very open to testing, to experimenting, very willing to fail in that respect. Somebody talked about failure this morning with startups. Portuguese, they do risk a lot, but sometimes the problem is that we get punished for being bold and taking risks. So that is the aspect of this culture that needs to change. But testing and creating this test beds approach across many different fields, I think is where we need to move as a country. Offer just like a platform for international companies to emerge through Europe. And I'm talking about Chinese, I'm talking about Asian, Nordics. We do have some areas where we can excel in circular economy, biotech, because we have had so many doctors that could not enter to the profession, so they went into biotechnology-related fields, and this is an untapped area of knowledge. So I think the future is great and very green in this respect.
Thank you, Gonçalo. Adão?
I'm mirroring a lot, Ricardo, so I'll be honest. So at Banco Português de Fomento, I believe, let me just say, I just joined in April, Banco Português de Fomento, and I think we don't have any kind of direct collaboration in place. And so I met Carolina also recently, but to be honest, I think there is a lot for us to discuss because in a way we have our own portfolio, and obviously activities related with portfolio development would be a focus of ourselves. And at the same time, and I don't have any doubt on that, Carolina and the EIT will have a lot of companies and startups that probably will be looking for investment. And so it's always good to have someone that you know for investment, right? So if they could be somehow endorsed or sponsored by EIT, that will be great for Banco Português de Fomento, although we are a matching fund, so you need to convince another investor first. But yeah, that will be my take here.
Thank you for inputs. Caroline is taking notes there. So we have 5 minutes according to the new time that we have. So I will ask to the panel one advice to startup founders that are here and also the others that are helping startups to how to scale up. One advice, okay? This is a very interesting challenge due to your experience. Then I will pass to the audience for one question at least. Sofia.
For me, it's super simple. Is do not try to do everything by yourself. Connect to people, to incubators, to program. So I think this is the best way because they are working really hard to put you out there, to connect you with international players as well. So I think this could be my advice.
Good advice. Thank you. Ricardo.
Yeah, I would say, of course, the same. I think these networks are hugely valuable for people that are trying to scale. Above all, I think if you believe really in your product and you're selling already and you start getting clients, you shouldn't be afraid to try out outside. I mean, like we say in Portugal é perigo. It's a very tiny country. There is an opportunity to go outside, and a lot of the startups in Portugal actually start from abroad. They think Portugal is too small and let's go abroad. I don't know if it's the same with the SMEs in Portugal. And a lot of corporates also, even though they go outside, but for instance, not a lot of corporates in Portugal work with European mechanisms and funds from Europe, which is a shame. And there should be a lot more, because I know it's more difficult to go to Europe. I know it's more difficult to go after a competition that is a lot more countries, but it's where you grow. And I think this is an advice not only for the scale-ups or the startups, but also for all the institutions. I think there's a great opportunity now. There's a lot of funds, but you have to trust that it will take time, a little bit of time. But if you are able to enter into this going outside, going to these European networks, going for the different mechanisms that the European Commission has on the EIT, the IC, and so on, you will see it will be a fruitful connection for the future. We started this path in 2011, and we haven't stopped working with these different mechanisms because we've seen it's not about the money, it's about the doors it opens outside. And it's been many, and we've had many interactions with partners that we weren't even thinking about. You know, I love these partnerships that come from, like, the other day I was at Vivatech, and there was the CEO of Sanofi and Zach Brown from McLaren Formula One, and they did the partnership, and you were like, really? Pharmaceutical and F1? But they did a partnership that was so big, they invested in 30 million in McLaren, and they got savings of 300 million, 10 times. So I think that's where sometimes you don't see the partnership and the value, but trust me, this works.
Thank you, Ricardo. Gonçalo, your advice.
I'm next. All right, so we see every year hundreds of startups, and our job is to make them, let's say, successful. What do we see that is still lacking and we still need to improve is on market validation. So a lot of problems that we see are not really validated in the way that companies, so startups may raise as many funds as they like eventually, but at one point, if they don't break even, it's not good. It's not good because they burn investors' money and they don't get anywhere. So if we start from a problem which is well validated, is concrete, that there's a market for it, I think this is where we will be more successful. We see startups still failing quite a lot in Portugal compared to other places, and this is part of the ecosystem development because we don't have yet, let's say, a mature ecosystem for market validation. So our SMEs still need to be engaged more. Our innovation departments at SMEs are usually one person or two people, even when we are talking with companies of 200 million euro turnover. And we say, who's the innovation guy? Well, we have this person that does admin plus innovation. It's tricky. So we don't have the right stakeholder to co-develop these solutions. And eventually startups need to validate their solution at home or elsewhere. Much tougher to just, sometimes, this is tricky, but sometimes startups just go elsewhere. And this is a brain drain challenge for us. So we don't want that. Having said that, we need to engage more the SMEs, train the SMEs and skill the SMEs on these opportunities for innovation, where I think is the most of the, let's say, opportunity for growth for us. But if you're a startup, you have to talk to the customer. And if you haven't talked to the customer, you're in trouble. Even if you have raised a lot of money, you should be talking to customers every day. That's my advice.
Thank you, Gonçalo. Adão, shortly, 1 minute.
Yeah, very short and sharp. So my advice would be ambitious and be credible. Usually those two don't come together when we talk with founders. And so, if you are credible and you have an ambitious vision, I would say that the sky is the limit. But the number of people that we see with these two characteristics is very short. But it's an advice, of course.
Thank you, Adão. I would say BBR, be brave, bold, and resilient, okay? That's the point. We have space for one question from the audience. Do we have? Anybody?
Going once. Going
Nobody.
Twice.
Wow.
Sold.
Yeah, sold. Well, so a big hand of applause to our distinguished panel, okay? And let's hear their advices, okay? See you around. Thank you.
Wait, I think you wanted to ask a
I just
question.
wanted to hands up on who's a startup or who's thinking of forming a company. Okay, there's a few here. Good luck, guys.
Yeah. A photo.
with our last but not least panel that brings to Lisbon our dearest outermost regions, Madeira and Azores. And with no further delay, let's call to the stage our moderator, Marta Passadouro, EIT Health InnoStars Ecosystem Lead. Applause, please. Luís Almeida, President of Nanagon from Azores. Ruth Gregório, Regional Director for Science, Innovation and Development from Azores. And Carlos Soares Lopes, CEO of Startup Madeira.
Hello, everyone. So good morning to everyone, and good morning to our wonderful panel, Carlos, Ruth, and Luís. We were already presented by our host, Carolina. So we are here actually to discuss how can EIT community, knowledge community in the different sectors can help the outermost regions as Madeira and Azores to boost innovation at the local ecosystem, but also to connect with European markets, but who knows, also to America and Africa. So we all are more or less aware of the barriers that regions like islands have, like geographical isolation, of course, logistical constraints, small domestic markets, and small-scale investment, let's say. These are real constraints. But I also here today want to focus on the opportunities that we have with these regions. So there is a lot of public funding, let's say, at the European level for regions like our most regions. So this is an opportunity. But also the fact that the small size and scale is also really good for testbeds. So I really want to address all these topics with you. Also a little bit of the brain drain that we've seen in the past few years, but now we can see the other way around, that we have the diasporas wanting to come back, some of them coming back, and the digital nomads. So I want to tap on all these topics, and I want to start here with Ruth, mostly, so we can have a little bit of answers on these topics. So Ruth, considering all these constraints that I've mentioned, what is the specialization strategy that was designed by the local government to turn these constraints into opportunities? And if you have some key sectors that have been prioritized in the case of Azores.
Thank you. Good morning. No, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation. Well, in fact, we are 9 islands, and very different islands, spread in the big ocean with 600 kilometers, because between Corvo and Santa Maria is 600 kilometers, south to north to south of Portugal. And we are across 3 tectonic plates. It's important to say that, 3 tectonic plates. But we are also a strategic point between Europe and America. Historical, the strategical position, it was very important. And in our days, it's a communication hub because of the submarine cables for Google, for instance. And this is an opportunity also. So, our smart strategic plan, it's to have politics to improve our strengths and our opportunities to turn off that difficulties and opportunities. Last strategy choose 3 sectors very important: agriculture, agro-industry, the same sector, and tourism, and also blue growth. Our actual strategy, it's selected 5 sectors, strategic sectors, cross up with 5 teams, and the strategic sectors are agriculture, are health, tourism and heritage, are space and data space, and also the blue growth. In cross teams, we privilege climate situations, circular economy, and other digital transformation, and other sectors and teams who will be very important for develop to turn off the problems of isolation. And the main problem we have is we have a plan for the islands, the 9 islands, but we must have a plan for each one of the islands, because they are very different. They have very different potentialities. And when we say we are in a vast area of the ocean, isolated, is true, but with new technologies, with the digitalization transformation, this starts to change a lot. Yes, and it's invest in the transition, digital transition is very important for us to change the isolation. It changed the life of the little islands. It's different to live in São Miguel. It's a big island with half of the population, then live in Corvo with 400 inhabitants. The privilege, the sectors to be strategically developed are different. São Miguel has a lot of research centers. Corvo has traditional farming, traditional fishery, and the solutions are different for those islands, so different also.
So Azores is like an ecosystem built of smaller ecosystems.
Yes.
And you have to build the connectivity.
We have a lab in each island. It's the solution. It's our strategy.
It's a huge challenge and makes a lot of sense. Okay, thank you. So Carlos, let's go now to Madeira. And Madeira, just like Azores, makes part with Canary Islands, makes part of this Micronesia region. And all the islands have this now work in connected. It's a larger network. So how do you use the strength of the connectivity to build long-term innovation partnerships? Do you have do you find here some opportunities? What are the struggles? Talk us a little bit about that. How does Madeira, because Madeira is an ecosystem a little bit more advanced now than Azores. They have other possibilities, of course. But
we have all the people connected in the same island, and Porto Santo is near. It's easier than the Azores. But the challenges are huge. Startup Madeira, only to present a little bit, Startup Madeira starts in 1997. Like Durão Barroso said, it was also a challenge to launch incubator centers around Europe on that time. Maybe we are one of the oldest incubation centers in Portugal. We are connected with the university and also the government and some industrial enterprises. And this start is very important to set, because I think it's the very beginning for connectivity with other partners, because if we don't work inside, we can connect with the others, but also Madeira, Azores, and Canary Island are very important for Europe, because Europe became huge also in the ocean. It is very important to know that the challenges are great, but also the opportunities that we can do are very, very good. I can talk about, we have since the beginning work with the ideation programs, with the acceleration programs, also with the nowadays with digital nomads programs. And one thing we have done, it's working with partnerships also with I I connect with Rui Ferreira and Miguel Muñoz Duarte in 2008 in an entrepreneurship program with the university. And it's the first year we have connected, but since then we have working together until now. It's an example also with some partnership with the Canary Islands and also with Azores, with Nornagon, with Terinov, with other partners. And this connection is very good. Also with EIT Food, we have already done a program last year, and we want to participate more and be part of this local environment and also be a hand of EIT in Madeira Island.
So since I work with EIT, I see that there's a lot of interest of EIT in these outmost regions because they see that you already work from the start connecting with other regions. So you have to, because you are supposedly isolated, even though in this digitalization era there's no geographical distance anymore.
Maybe the islands can be a living lab for test and invest. We have some programs, even in tourism, with Tourism Portugal, that we have people from more than 14 countries coming to Madeira to test their project and startups with the local entities, with the hotels, with the airport, with the ports, but also with the government. And in 6 weeks we do that since 2018, and we are doing year by year, and it's very important because also it's important for the local enterprises to touch in different areas of innovation, but also people that come from US or from Japan. It's a way to enter in Europe. Madeira can be a good place to enter in Europe, also for the fiscal benefits we have.
Okay, thank you. Luís, as president of Nonagon, and you've already mentioned here the living labs and the test beds, what I want to ask is that as a person that has been deeply involved in the development of the local ecosystem, for sure you've tried to encounter a lot of challenges for the scale-ups. But again, as we've mentioned, these small size islands are really good for test beds. So do you want to talk us a little bit about your experience, how you see this in your perspective, how they can use Azores for test beds in these different fields or strategic areas?
Thank you, Marta. Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank your invitation to be here and wish the best work to Carolina. And some lucky also, because the work is a good start, but sometimes we need some lucky. So many years ago, someone told me, if you are the last to speak, please be short. So I'm trying to be short, but to say what I need and what I have to say. So one of our problems in Azores, like in Madeira, but worse than in Madeira, and like Ruud said a few minutes ago, is our market size. The market is small. We can do it bigger, but it's impossible to have a big market. Even if you talk about Portugal, as all the Portugal is not a big market. Is a medium market in Europe. Is not also a small market in Europe, but is a medium. You are a medium country with a medium market and with a lot of good people. So it's one of the problems, and we have also other problems, and I will just want to say one more. It's difficult to find the right person to the right place. It's a problem, across also all Portugal and even in Europe, but in small islands in the middle of Atlantic, is more difficult to find the right person to the right place. So, and with these two problems, we can talk more about other problems we have. But I think in a day as today, a day of celebration of EIT office in Lisbon, and with this wonderful people we are here with us, we have also to talk about the good things of Portugal in this particular case about the Azores. Azores, as Ruth said, and I thank her for it, is in the middle of Atlantic. We are 4 hours flying to New York, but also 4 hours flying to Brussels. This is a historic reality. Since the beginning of the 20th century, it was a reality. The first transatlantic planes had to stop in Azores, first in Fayal Island, where in the sea was a hydroavion, I don't know if the name, hydroplane, I think the name is in English more or less this, then in Santa Maria. So we had been in the middle of the Atlantic since ever. So for some years it was a problem because we are far away from the big markets in the world. Now we are short to these markets. In Nonagon we have some specialization in IT sector. So to IT sector, the distance is no more a problem, and sometimes be in the center of the Atlantic or in the middle of Atlantic is an advantage because the flights are shorter to two of the three biggest points in the world, Europe and the United States. And one thing somebody talks, but is not very talker, is the time zone. The time zone is very helpful to us to make calls to the United States and to Europe. In this moment, we have some companies in Nonagon. They are there. Some of them are big companies. We have also an office of a unicorn there, and one of our advantages is that. So we have to think about the good things, and this is one of the good things. Another good thing we have to talk about is we are open to talk with everybody. We have some international investors look for us to talk. There are a lot of things happening, like the case, the cable. The cable could be a point of interest and a study case to another companies to come to us. So, and I think for now it's that.
Sorry. Okay. But I wanted also to pinpoint that you pinpoint the major assets, like the being a gateway for America and for Europe, the time zone, which is really important. But what about this living labs, the being test beds?
Okay.
Because the small size sometimes is really advantage.
I know. The small size of the market can be an advantage if someone or some company want to try some any solution with in a small market. So it's could be advantage to some tests and this kind of things.
Okay,
Thank you.
so thank you. Still in Azores with the, so let's go back to Ruth. So turning this vision and impact of the specialization strategy, can you give us a little, some examples of concrete projects where you used these mechanisms from Horizon Europe, EIT, other networks to leverage some pilots, some projects in Azores and the impact that has on the local community and the ecosystem?
Yes, thank you. We have last year had a call for ARD funds, Azores 2030, and we had a lot of propositions in with agriculture impact and fisheries impact, monitoring, for instance, the fisheries, and with some patents also. And it's important for us. But our directorate, science director, has two projects, E34. One, E34 for blue growth, the other one, I34 biofertilizers. We made a consortium, European consortium, and because of these projects, we started in our directorates. Now we have the status of regional innovation valley. It's a recognition in Europe about all these with these projects, and we work in networking. Last week, I went to Barcelona to in the peer review of Interreg. It was a call. We applied to a call. We were selected, and we have connects to solve a big problem, a big issue in the Azores, and not only in the Azores. That is connect academia with enterprises, with the business sector. And we are invited to participate in this network Interreg activity, and it was very important for us to build this connection. So we applied to a lot of calls in Europe to have skills to bring this news to region and to construct these synergies between the academic research centers and industry and business sector. Also, we work with programs Interreg, Macaronesia, with projects for fundings for Canarias, Azores, and Madeira. And we try all the programs, but it's difficult, because there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of programs, a lot of regulations, a lot of specific cases, a lot of conditions for some regions, but not others, excluding ones and not the others. So we have sometimes problems with the resources, human resources, to found these opportunities. But we are construct our path, and we are applied to all the calls. We see it's important for our strategic sectors as agriculture, as sea questions, blue growth. And we try to make our to correspond to this cause. Is our strategy.
So it's an amazing work.
Yes,
but again,
I want to say another thing. Even us in our budget, is a few budgets, not very big. We prefer to have calls in our projects for co-funding. Research centers, sector, business sector, will be possible for them to apply to European programs. So our strategy is like that.
So you build skills within those.
Yes, co-funding these projects. It's our goal in the Science Directorate.
Okay, thank you. So, as I was saying, we always come back to this problem of having enough resources, infrastructure sometimes, but people that are skilled, knowledgeable, because the potential in these regions is there. We just need more people that are trained also to sustain the partnerships, because when we do form a consortium or partnership, that's just the beginning. That there's a lot of work is coming and building more work on top of work. So that's when you need to hire more and more people. So in tapping again on this human resources thing, I wanted to talk about what you said earlier about the digital nomads. So we know that in the recent years, Madeira has positioned itself a lot as a hub for digital nomads. Of course, the tourism and the lovely landscape and weather in Madeira brings these people to live there. But what do you think they are the main factors that contribute for the success of Madeira to bring the digital nomads? I mean, you have like specialization fields, like you said, gaming, it's very important, food, marine technologies, and so on. So if you could give us a little bit of that.
I will try to resume all the history. It was COVID and all stopped. And we have to launch even our program in schools, in programs outside the incubation center, all stops, and we have to help entrepreneurs and even the hotels and the other companies to turn around and make money. And on that time we test a project we thought that will be about 200 people or 300 people with the consultant, this Gonçalo. We test and make a village for nomads. We don't make the village. The village was there, the hotels were there, the restaurants were there, all was there, but we test and create the opportunity. And then it starts in February 21, and what we thought it will be 300 people. Now times we have more than 20,000 people that applied for it.
So I think you underestimated your potential there.
Yes,
but there's a lot.
But the key factor is the community. Also, we start in a village, but then we try to help different communities. Nowadays we have more than 10 communities around the island. Even each community, it can be association or a working space or a co-living. Each community helps a group of nomads, but also each other. They help. We are like the umbrella of it because we try that don't conflict. They can help each other. Even the moments they have in the like events or networking events, yoga, CrossFit, and things like that. They are not in the same time because the island permit that people come around different activities, even if they are not in one place. And this is very important, but also it was an opportunity to show the world that Madeira can be a good place to work and live, and also from Madeira people that have been outside, they can come back. And this is the very important key, because for us to Madeira people and come back have to have great jobs, even if you are 15 years outside. When you come back, you want to have a good job, a good opportunity. And it's why, for us, it's very important, the diversity of economy, and not only tourism. Tourism, inside our incubation center, we don't have a lot, we have only a few projects in tourism, because we try to help innovation in different areas. Nowadays, we are part of Agenda Mobilizadora from gaming. It's a very important one. We are part. Also, we have a very ambitious project inside the new hospital in the health care area. And these are two examples. Even we are in a European consortium about 13 entities that connect hospitals, enterprises, and incubators like us and the universities around Europe about healthcare projects. And in Madeira, we will have the demo day of an acceleration program next year. And this can be a good way to start, but it's only the beginning.
Exactly. And one of the key points here maybe is that as digital nomads, they tend to come, stay for a period of time, and then they leave. So what
they are like tourism.
Yeah, they're like tourism. You build on the momentum, but what are the strategies that you have now in place that so you can retain part of that talent, or for them to have impact in the local ecosystem?
For us, like incubations, we only support the communities. Okay. The communities, if they make money, they will want to support the tourism and the digital nomads. It's why, for us, it's important that they can make money, and also the effort, it's not a public effort, it's a private effort.
Okay.
It's why in this project, we never put a single euro in marketing.
Okay.
It was all of it like authentic
even
way
that is
to
already
do
a
the
postcard
things.
by itself, so it
Yes.
attracts people like us.
And also, I think Madeira can be a very good place to live, but we need good opportunities and enterprises working there. Sometimes it's easier to us to sell for foreign countries, like we have entrepreneurs from Austria, from England, from Italy, from other places. And for us, it's easier to sell outside Madeira and the fiscal benefits and all than inside Portugal. Because inside Portugal, sometimes it's too difficult to sell, because almost things that pass here in the newspapers and in the TV, it's all bad things. It's difficult to put here the good things about the market, the enterprises. Sometimes it's difficult for us to sell Madeira in other way. Not only in tourism, because the tourism, all Portuguese knows that it's a good place, but in the other business way.
But for what I've seen, you have wonderful projects that can be flagship projects to sell your region, of course. So, Luís, let me build here on something that Carol mentioned, the companies that need to be developed in the regions, the different regions, to create maybe more employment, better salaries to retain the talent. Do you think the collaboration with major corporate or multinational partners would help to do this? How is your experience on collaborating with corporate entities and building projects in Azores? If this helps to scale.
Marta, thank you, Marta. Yes, it's for us. It's important to find partners. And we can't also forget the university, the Ruth Somme. She's from the university, is an important partner to us, and has been an important partner to us. In the last 50 years, we are, as we say by joke, but it's not a joke, breaking holes and cutting bricks. We are trying to always, every day, we try this, breaking holes and cutting bricks. So the internalization of our economy is a challenger for all of us. Is a road is a road where we are driving, and we hope and we wish in the short period of time we have some more good business. The Google is the first one, is a very good and long job made by a lot of people, and I hope and I think is not the first one. Is not the first one, and I wish it will be not the last one. So, but. is not easy because the market is a global market, and everyone is looking for the same players everywhere. Everyone, our colleagues in the world are all asking and looking for the same things. So we have to be very specifically and very good doing this job. But we are all doing, and Madeira is doing, our Ruth is doing, our government is doing, with success, and we hope we will have more success in short term or even in the medium term, because in the long term we are all die.
Yeah, well, but you give us there a very good example on how Google is trying to implement this cable infrastructure, the two cables infrastructure there. So
I think this question is more for Ruth than for me.
Well, it's corporates all over.
It's not for me, but are two submarine cables. Cloud, and now sun. But our vice president is negotiates the things. But it's very important.
These infrastructures create probably jobs, and then
of course,
probably a place for testing solutions.
And the talents stay in the Azores or came to Azores. Yes, it's very important.
So just one thing, and is very good. Is a good advertiser. Is a good marketer. As the Google cables there.
Yeah. It's amazing when you have these big corporates that want to collaborate with the regions, because again, it's a flagship.
We can say to everybody, we have the two Google cables here. And it's
again about marketing and advertising.
It's a value. Yes. It's a value to us.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Do we have questions from our audience? Any questions? No? So before we go, there? Someone? No, Carlos? Yes? Oh, there.
I was just going to ask if there's any ideas to turn nomads into permanents, nomads into residents, nomads into citizens. I don't know. Is that a goal? Is that an idea?
It's a natural way. Some nomads came permanent. Some nomads have kids in Madeira, and someone invests. But if they want to, some of them, they only trying to understand better the nomads that came to Madeira. They are always 30 to 50 years old. Some have kids, small kids, but when they grow up and have to go to the schools, sometimes have to have a permanent house. And some of them stay in Madeira, and we have an example of a school that is going to close in Calheta. That it's not in Funchal, the capital. It's in the other part of the island. But nowadays have more than 20 nationalities, and have also in the public sector a very good program with the English inside the classroom. It's an example that also we can test the way, also because we have the education and the health sector autonomous. We can test also different ways to teach and different ways to do, and nowadays this is a reality also in a place that in the last 20 years. The decrease of young people is evident, and now we have more this type of opportunities. And this type of people sometimes work for US from because of the time zone also. They choose Portugal, and they choose Madeira to work here from US. In the morning they have time, and then start working at 12, and then have the opportunity also to enjoy Madeira with the sea and the mountains, but also to work there remotely. And this is in the last month we have a professor of Harvard here, in Madeira that was studying work remotely area, and it's important to know that he said that if you want to have a remotely company working very well, you have to have 25 to 40% of time that you can join people like in events and other things. And also we have in Madeira some retreat programs that for companies, and they come, they stay 1 month together and go abroad. It can be also a good way to put people together that nowadays we have more than 40 direct flights for a lot of capitals and a lot of places, and it can be also a good way to put people together and bring innovation and starting new opportunities.
Thank you, Carlos. We are already on time. We have Carolina there, so thank you very much for sharing your insights with us. You already know that connectivity is the buzzword for your regions to thrive. Use EIT assets, programs, and connectivity to boost even more your ecosystems. And thank you for this lovely conversation. Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Just a quick photo and we will be in our closing session. Fico, claro. And now for our closing session, help me call to the stage the one that driving forces behind Unicorn Factory Lisboa, rises atop European Innovation Hub. With over 20 years of leadership across consulting, finance, and startup ecosystems, he has built and scaled world-class incubation and scaling programs, launched thematic innovation districts and innovation hubs in AI, gaming, Web3, and sustainability, and forged strategic global partnerships. Gilles Azevedo.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you for staying with us for a long morning, but a morning that I think has been very insightful to understand what is our way forward. I think that today we are not just having the launch of EIT Community Portugal, we are really discussing how can we, as Portuguese, as Portugal, and as Europe and the European Union, how can we get together, collaborate, and make sure that we are able to compete with US, with China, and other geographies. I think that out of these conversations, I think there are three key words that I take home. One is scale, and we need to scale and we need to focus on scale. That's something at Unicorn Factory Lisboa was really the first objective when we launched our Scaling Up program, to be able to position the ecosystem not only on the early stage, but focusing on international expansion and gaining size. The second is collaboration. And as José Manuel Durão Barroso said, each country in Europe are small. And only by collaborating, working together, we are able to get the size that is required to be relevant. And then thirdly, I think is speed of action. I think that we all could hear as well that Europe is running behind. Carlos Moedas has a saying that I think it really reflects well the problem of Europe. He says that Europe is very good to transform money into knowledge, but is not good transforming knowledge into money. And that's why I think the launch of EIT Community Portugal can play a very important role for the European Union and for Portugal in particular, by making sure that we work together as a community. As we are able to connect with Europe, we are able to take advantage of this larger scale and with the right focus be able to cover the lost ground we have had over the years. Something that I think is also very important that I learned through this journey is that we Portuguese are playing a very important role in European innovation. I learned today that it was under José Manuel Durão Barroso that EIT was launched. It was with Carlos Moedas that EIC was launched, which are the two major European innovation organizations funded by European Union. So it's in our blood really to innovate, and I think that we can really play a very important role on this. And looking at several faces here that are very well known in the ecosystem and are really driving the thinking forward. I'll just mention a few. I'll start with, obviously, Carolina, that has this important role on making sure that the project has a strong impact, and we are here to collaborate and work together. Then we have different partners. We have corporate partners, and I'm seeing here, for instance, Ana Kazaka, that has been working with ecosystem first in the north, now hopefully with that national view to really help positioning Portugal at a larger scale. I see also, for instance, Anna from Brisa, who came more recently, but comes with this international experience working for Google, working in the US, in the UK, and with really the goal to grow also the ecosystem. The people that were here as speakers, Rui, for instance, that has been heading the Portugal Ventures until last year. So there's a lot of great blood, and I think we are really good. We can really be good innovators. So while I think the mission today is to join at European level and be able to gain scale together with Europe, I leave with just then one challenge to all is how can we also, together in the country, collaborate more? Because at the end of the day, if the countries are small, the regions inside Portugal are even smaller, obviously. So I think that's still some ground to cover there as well. So I hope we leave here with two missions. One, to make sure that the EIT community really helps founders, really helps the community to grow and to scale. And second, that we in this room, we also are able to ensure that the country puts innovation on top of the agenda, and we are able to position the country as a key driver at the European level. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you.